the National Football League. Today, the Los Angeles Rams against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It's a simply marvelous afternoon for football in Tampa, Florida, as the Rams tackle the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Rams have been a Jekyll and Hyde team this year, but they're in the playoff fight. One of these teams will win the NFC East battle. Two others will be a wild card entry, and the Rams need to win to stay alive, of course, in that derby. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, along with Hank Stram. And Hank, we really have a treat today. We have two of the great offensive powers on the field, James Wilder and Eric Dickerson, in the same game. And Wilder really has had a terrific season.
He really has had a great season. And, you know, the great thing about Wilder, he leads in total offense from passing and running. And the great thing about him is he comes into the game with 53 catches, whereas Dickerson only has 18. So that's really the difference in the yardage between the two great running backs.
But when you talk about pure rushers, Walter Payton, of course, may be the greatest of all time now. Eric Dickerson won't be far behind.
I think Eric Dickerson has earned the right to be regarded as one of the great running backs in the history of the National Football League. Walter Payton certainly has to be in the same category, and he's established that record. But I think down the line, I've said this many times, I think there's one back in the National Football League who can surpass the record of Walter Payton. That could be Eric Dickerson.
Now, Henry, outside of Wilder and Dickerson, how do you look at the matchup today?
I think the Rams obviously have to run the ball to win. They're going to throw the ball, really, but I think they're going to have to run the ball to win. I think they're going to have to keep the running part of their game in the game and try to keep the passing game out of the game as much as they possibly can. On the other hand, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing very, very well offensively. They're running the ball well and throwing it extremely well. They had a great day last week against the 49ers. But I think in the final analysis, I think the edge from a specialty team standpoint would have to go to the Los Angeles Rams.
Thank you, Henry. And that's a good capsule size up as you look at the weather conditions. 76 degrees, hardly a breeze. It is partly cloudy right now, but there's been plenty of sun today. As the Buccaneers have won the toss, they will receive. Mike Lansford will kick off to Michael Morton on the left and Leon Bright on the right. Both of these teams have had success. Buccaneers at home, where they're 4-1, and the Rams on the road, where they're 4-2. Leon Bright inside the 10. And brings it out shy of the 30-yard line. Let's check the Buccaneers offense for you. Steve DeBerg is the quarterback. We've talked about Wilder, Adger Armstrong a blocker, Gerald Carter and Kevin House, the best wide receiving duo in the league. Jimmy Giles is the tight end. Glenn Bujnak is starting in place of Steve Corson. Sean Farrell and Ron Heller, a very tough right side of the offensive line. 1st and 10. The ball at the 22-yard line. Steve DeBerg coming off his first 300-yard game as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer last week against San Francisco. In motion goes Kevin House. DeBerg to throw on 1st down and has enough time. It's a short pass, and it is ruled incomplete. Pass was intended for Kevin House.
Here's a great illustration of how much respect they have for Youngblood. He's being double-teamed on the right side. You see that by Heller, and then the tight end gets a shot at him and then runs down the field. But they're very, very concerned about blocking Jack Youngblood, and justifiably so, number 85.
Talk about that matchup between Youngblood and Heller. Youngblood was a rookie when Ron Heller was in the 3rd grade. 2nd down and 10. Now Armstrong in motion, and Wilder gets the call. Up the middle, stopped short of the 28-yard line, a gain of about 5. And right now, let's check the Rams defensively for you. Jack Youngblood, who's 34 years old, and Reggie Doss the ends. Greg Meisner is the nose tackle. Mel Owens, Carl Eckern, Jimmy Collins, and Mike Wiltshire. Wiltshire, of course, in for George Andrews, who's injured and on injured reserve. Green and Irvin are the cornerbacks. Vince Newsom, who made that tackle, and Johnny Johnson are the safeties. It'll be 3rd and 4. David Crudup is in as a nickel back, a free agent rookie, number 28. DeBerg fakes and completes his pass to Gerald Carter to the 41-yard line. And a 1st down, a gain of 12. And he had a lot of time, Hank.
They really did. And Gary Jeter's in the game for the first time. He's been activated playing right tackle. But there he goes back into the pocket. The pass protection is good. And DeBerg throws the ball inside. Now, I think we're going to see a lot of that during the course of this game because the linebackers, watch again, we'll see the pass protection here is excellent, and that's what you have to do to throw the ball efficiently. And really, that's what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have done very well the last few weeks.
They sealed off Youngblood very well. 1st and 10. 2 tight ends in for Tampa Bay. Jerry Bell. Here is Wilder. Wilder gets to the 44-yard line where Carl Eckern makes the stop. So James Wilder, by the way, you talked about the total yardage versus the runner, but Wilder only leads Dickerson by 68 yards in that total yards department coming into the game.
Well, Wilder really had a fantastic year, and of course Dickerson is out of this world. He's really one of the fantastic backs, I think, in the National Football League, as I mentioned earlier. One of the things we're going to see, I think, this afternoon, we're going to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers throw the ball a lot inside underneath the linebackers, Mel Owen and Carl Eckern, because they get such deep drops, and I think we can look at a lot of throwing between the hash marks.
2nd down and 6. The ball just shy of the 45-yard line. DeBerg throwing, as you said, incomplete. Jerry Bell, the 2nd tight end, was the intended receiver, and defending on the play was Johnny Johnson.
Watch Jim Collins, number 50. Look at the depth he gets. He's got an inside-out position on the tight end. Jim Collins, number 50, and he does a good job of getting his hand in front of the ball, and he drops it.
Did not practice this week. He had a muscle pull on his leg. He is having a sensational year and should be a Pro Bowl performer. Jim Collins, he's had over 100 tackles. So Gary Jeter and Charles Desjardins in for pass rushing. The nickel back also in, 3rd and 6. Showing a blitz, and the Rams might have moved. Penalty marker down. DeBerg throws it up for grabs. Theo Bell makes the catch at the 27-yard line. And if that pass penalty is against L.A., Tampa Bay is sitting pretty.
It looked like the right end, Gary Jeter, was offside, number 77. We'll have to look and see.
Gene Barth is the referee, so that completion is going to count. 26 yards to Theo Bell.
You know, the great thing about DeBerg, he's got enough experience. That's a great thing. You don't want to officiate the game. Just play the game as a player. He knew that there was a penalty on the play, but in spite of that, he went ahead with a throw, got the ball downfield to Theo Bell, and as a result, they have a 1st down in great field position.
Theo Bell had only 1 catch in his last 3 games. He is way behind his productivity of last year, but he made that good catch there, and now Tampa Bay has it 1st and 10 on the Ram 26. No score, 1st quarter. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram on a lovely day in Tampa. Azure Armstrong in motion. DeBerg to House, and the pass is caught despite Gary Green's coverage. It's another 1st down for Tampa Bay, and you can't ask for more from Gary Green.
Gary Green couldn't cover the guy any better than he did, but the ball was thrown perfectly. That kind of a pass on a slant pass has to be thrown at the numbers or below. That ball was right at the numbers, and there's no way in the world that a defensive back can knock the ball down when the ball's thrown perfectly like it was by DeBerg on the last play.
So it's 1st and 10 on the 13 as the sun comes out again. 3 passes in this drive for 49 yards total. DeBerg is getting a lot of time. Carter in motion, and here's Wilder. And coming up was Gary Green. He had help from Mel Owens. And they snuffed out that Wilder outside attempt right there. And they spotted back at the 15-yard line, so it'll be a loss of about 1.5 yards.
Gary Green, the left cornerback that time, really did a super job of coming up and forcing the play. He got a good jump, got a good read, great anticipation, and came up and made the play.
Ram defense as Tampa Bay faces them. It'll be 2nd down and a long 11. Gary Jeter replaces Reggie Doss now. Still a 3-man front for the Rams.
Boy, look at that middle.
DeBerg up the middle, just as you called it. Gerald Carter on the receiving end inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 6 after that completion to Carter.
But here we see Collins. See, he gets good depth. He hangs close to that hash mark and leaves the middle open, and for that reason they're going to try to throw the ball underneath. That's the intelligent approach, and that's what they've done so far pretty well.
The Rams defense has allowed under 100 yards rushing a game, but the opposition has completed 61% of its passes. One of the reasons the Rams have not had a good pass rush this year. 3rd and 5, Hank on the 8-yard line.
There's a bump and run on the outside. They might have tried to go for the outside big play. There it is.
Going inside, and let's see. No score. Gerald Carter claims he had the feet in bounds. But Leroy Irvin defending on the play, and both officials were there, Hank. It's incomplete.
Here you see, now they got bump and run. Watch Gerald Carter. He makes an outside move on Irvin, and then into the end zone. The ball's thrown up on top. He loses Irvin. He dives for the ball.
I don't know if he had possession of the ball, though. That may be the only question, Hank. He seemed to have the feet in.
Yeah, he had to have possession and also feet in. Evidently, they didn't think he had the feet in. I mean, they didn't think they had possession.
This will be a 26-yard field goal attempt by Obed Ariri, with DeBerg holding to try to give the Buccaneers a lead, and the kick is up. It's good, and Tampa Bay scores first in this game. So Ariri, who is now 7 for 7 this year, inside 40 yards, has given Tampa Bay a lead. There's a story about the coaches in this game, John Robinson and John McKay. We'll be back to tell you more about that when we return. Tampa Bay leading 3-0, and we're going to take another look following the kickoff of that pass that was ruled incomplete and out of the end zone, and you may have some second thoughts when you take another look at it. Ariri will be kicking off now. Deep for the Rams. To the left is Drew Hill, and Barry Redden to the right. Redden is second in the NFC in kickoff returns. Ariri kicking over to Drew Hill's side so much that he kicks it out of bounds, and that'll be a 5-yard penalty. Now let's take a look at that pass from DeBerg to Carter that was ruled incomplete, Hank.
You have to have both feet in bounds, and of course you have to have possession. I think, and look, the way the picture looks, he had his feet in bounds, of course, and he had possession. He's got possession. That should be a touchdown. No question about it.
So Tampa Bay, instead of the 6, has to settle for the 3.
The other thing that was important on that play, too, was the fact that Kevin House got a pick, a little bit of a pick on the inside man that got him loose going down the sideline and in there for the end zone for the big play that looked like should have been a touchdown.
So Ariri will now kick off back at the 30-yard line, and of course John McKay, he was the teacher, and John Robinson with the Rams, the pupil, and they go way back to the days of the University of Oregon.
Yeah, John recruited Johnny Robinson as a player, and he played at Oregon, and then of course he stayed on and coached there for a while. Johnny McKay then went to Southern California, eventually brought John Robinson with him. John left, talking about Robinson, went to the Oakland Raiders for 3 years, became the head coach, came back and became the head coach of Southern California, and has really enjoyed a great coaching career. And of course John McKay, I think, has gone to will go down in history as one of the great college coaches of all time.
Won 4 national titles at USC. That says it right there. Here's the kick, and there's no question Ariri wants to kick it away from Redden. Drew Hill on the 6-yard line returns it, has an opening, and Drew Hill carries it out near the 40-yard line. A good return of 33 yards. Maurice Harvey makes the tackle. So let's take a look now at the Rams on offense. Jeff Kemp starting his 10th game. The inimitable Eric Dickerson. Mike Gooman is the U-back. Henry Ellard and Drew Hill, just 2 of a host of receivers the Rams have. David Hill is the tight end in the offensive line, and Bill Bain has really been outstanding. Started the year at left tackle, has been filling in for Slater at right tackle. 1st and 10 for Kemp and the Rams. Good field position at the 40. In motion is Gooman, the U-back, and Eric Dickerson finds a hole and gets almost 9 yards on the play. You give him a hole, Dickerson will get the yards in a hurry. The Bucs defensively, they use a 3-4. John Cannon, David Logan, and Leroy Selman. Rams will have to worry about Selman today. Robert Thompson starts in place of Keith Browner. Chris Washington continues in place of Hugh Green, and the secondary. Castile and Holt the corners, Cotney and Reese the safety.
Irv Pankey's going to have his hands full trying to block Selman, and I think on passing situations they ought to probably and will probably keep a tight end on his side to help him.
Well, watch it. 2nd and 2 on the 48-yard line. Eric Dickerson has the first down into Tampa Bay territory, where the nose tackle David Logan makes the stop. Dickerson coming in, leading the NFL in rushing, as Hank has mentioned, 1,441 yards. And he needs to average 141 the rest of the year to beat O.J. Simpson's record of 2003.
One thing that we could look for, the offensive line of the Rams is a very large, big, strong offensive line. They get a great push, And if they dominate that offensive line, that line of scrimmage, why, they're going to be in good shape running the football this afternoon.
That's how they won those previous 2 games before last week's disaster in Green Bay. Kemp has all day, and he goes to Dickerson, who is stopped at the 46-yard line, just a gain of 2, and David Logan again makes the tackle.
Watch Selman, the double team on Selman. 63. There you see the guard, Kent Hill, coming out on him, and then Pankey gets him. But they got a double dip situation on him to make sure they block him. Kent Hill, number 72, and of course, Irv Pankey, 75.
Second down, 7 at the Tampa Bay 45. Mike Barber in a tight end. 2 tight ends. David Hill, the other one is in motion. Here's Dickerson on the pitch. He has an opening, and Eric Dickerson gets inside the 40-yard line, fumbles the ball. If they blew it dead, and apparently they did, it's at the 39-yard line, shy of a first down by a yard.
Dickerson on the pitch play, and they push. They get Selman on the outside, and of course, Dickerson has great vision. Anytime he has any kind of a seam, he's going to take it. He makes quick decisions, and that's what they have to do. Watch Selman go to the outside. He's going outside, and you see the cutback inside of Selman. Pankey, number 75, really does a great job of blocking Selman to the outside.
Tampa Bay an over-aggressive defense up front?
They are very aggressively involved in the game. I think it's very important for them in this situation to really slow down the backside from a rush standpoint.
Barry Redden is hit by Jeff Davis and is close to a first down with extra effort. We'll see where they spot the ball. Jeff Davis, who has been the heart and soul of the Bucs defense other than Leroy Selman. Barry Redden, by the way, has a scratched cornea. He suffered against San Francisco and did not return after he went out in the 3rd quarter. It'll be 4th down and less than a yard, and John Misko is in to punt for L.A. He's averaging a little over 39 yards a kick. Leon Bright is deep for Tampa Bay.
He ought to try to kick the ball out of bounds left if he's going to kick it out of bounds. Because if it slides off your foot when you kick it right, it's a bad kick. If it slides off when you kick it left, it's going to go right down the middle, and it won't be a bad kick.
He kicks it up the middle. And the Rams are going to down it inside the 5-yard line. Great hustle, special teams by a man who's been doing it for many years, Ivory Sully. With a score 3-0 Tampa Bay. We'll be back. Along with Hank Stram in Tampa Stadium, where the Buccaneers on Obed Ariri's 26-yard field goal lead the Rams 3-0. But the Buccaneers are hemmed in on their own 4-yard line. Good hustle by Ivory Sully on special teams following the punt. DeBerg brings out the Bucs 1st and 10. DeBerg will toss it, incomplete. Jimmy Giles, the tight end, was defended by Carl Eckern, and a penalty marker is down. The referee is Gene Barth, and he will tell us about the call now.
55 defense, interference, 55.
Eckern got there a little too soon and bumped Giles, and so this will be an automatic first down.
Watch Eckern now, 55. He doesn't get back nearly as deep as he normally does. He's all over the tight end. But as he's coming through, evidently his left hand was on the back of the tight end, Jimmy Giles, and that's why they called pass interference on the play.
Move it up to the 9-yard line, 1st and 10. Steve Corson has replaced Sean Farrell on the offensive line for Tampa Bay.
Jack Youngblood plays very, very wide. I think they're going to try when they run. They'll try to run inside of him a lot.
On the rush, screen pass to James Wilder. First down to the 21-yard line. Carl Eckern making the tackle. DeBerg thinking quickly. Got the ball away in a hurry. Mike Wilshire blitzed DeBerg.
Mike Wilshire, number 54, was blitzing on the play, but DeBerg is already a master at this. Look at coming from the outside. He got a whiff of it, threw the ball outside to Wilder. A tackle is missed by Irvin, and he goes into the area and makes a first down. A great run, really, by James Wilder.
That's Wilder's 54th catch of the year. Tampa Bay has 3 players with 50 or more receptions, led by Kevin House with 55. 1st and 10 at the 21 for Tampa Bay. They've gotten out of danger so far. Here is Wilder. And James Wilder brings it out to the 22-yard line, maybe a yard, that's all. Jim Collins making the stop for the LA Rams.
Jack Youngblood also did a good job of coming off the block. Watch Collins now. Good shot. Beautiful picture of Jim Collins getting into the seam. Gets behind the blocker and makes a beautiful shot. A good low tackle on James Wilder. Great feel for the ball and a great position, a great pursuit angle by Jim Collins, number 50.
4 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the first quarter. The Bucs lead 3-0. DeBerg, native of Anaheim, California. As time, house, incomplete. Defense by Gary Green. Sounds like the crowd will yell on a pass interference on every play, Hank.
Well, watch this now. Had the ball been thrown inside where the receiver would have been looking at the quarterback, it might have been a good pass, but he threw it to the side, you see. He had to catch it up high, and in the process, why he got hit and the ball popped through. Had he been facing the quarterback, he'd have probably made that catch.
Gary Green defended that well. He was acquired from Kansas City and has been a welcome addition, particularly since the Rams have been injury-riddled in the secondary.
They have great respect for him around the league. He's played super.
3rd down and 9 at the 22. Gary Jeter in for pass rushing. They screen it out to Wilder. He's got a couple of blockers, but Wilder is hit shy of the 30-yard line, and they'll be way short of about 4 or 5 yards. Vince Newsom with the hit on Wilder. It'll be 4th down. And coming in to punt for the first time in this ball game will be Frank Garcia for Tampa Bay.
Mel Owens really got a good shot from the inside, too. Reacted very, very well once the ball was thrown.
Garcia is 4th in the conference. He led the NFC last year in punting. And he'll be kicking to a real danger. Henry Ellard, who leads the NFL in punt returns. And he's run back a couple for touchdowns this year. Here's Ellard inside the 25. Penalty marker down as Ellard gets out of bounds at midfield. Penalty flag down. 12-yard return for Henry Ellard, who's been averaging more than 14.5.
83, illegal block in the back, on the run back, 10-yard penalty.
James McDonald guilty of the foul. If you look at John McKay, and so they'll start from the 40 when we come back to Tampa. At Tampa, 1st and 10 for the Rams on their 36-yard line following the illegal block penalty. And Jeff Kemp, who has 10 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, is a quarterback making his 10th start. He and DeBerg took over their respective teams at the same time. Goulman, the U back in motion. Dickerson cutting inside. Fumbles. Tampa Bay may have it. And looked like an orange shirt got there first. Rams made a number of mistakes in their loss to Green Bay. David Logan made the hit on Eric Dickerson. And it looks like Doug Smith, the center, doesn't want to let go.
Look at number 58 down the bottom of the pile there is also involved in it. Mel Owens. They finally give it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
So Dickerson coughs it up, and it's Tampa Bay ball.
Watch the cutback. This is what he likes to do. He sees the seam here, watch, and he cuts back. But you see Scott, number 52, Brantley, is underway, under control. They knock the ball loose, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pounce on the ball.
Jeff Davis on the recovery. And giveth away on equal terms. Tampa Bay has suffered that way, but now they've got good field position, 1st and 10.
Yeah, you can throw that out the window. The only thing that really matters is the game that you're playing today.
At the 43-yard line of the Rams, Carter went in motion. DeBerg swings it out to Wilder. He's got a lot of room. Wilder inside the 25 is wrestled out of bounds by Vince Newsom, but not before Wilder gets to the 21-yard line. A gain of 22 on the swing pass.
Now watch the linebackers. One linebacker is blitzing. The other one is coming in to the other side. It's man-for-man coverage on the outside. And there's nobody out there because the linebackers were blitzing. Here you see somebody coming from the inside. Now, Newsom came from the inside and made the tackle. Now look at the blitzing linebackers. Number 50 is blitzing Jimmy Collins. And as a result, there's no pursuit from the inside because the linebackers are going up the field.
Wilder has caught 3 passes already for 39 yards. 1st and 10. Tampa Bay threatening on the Ram 21. And Wilder gets the carry this time, and he picks up about 3 yards to about the 17-yard line where Reggie Doss makes the tackle. We have 3 minutes and 18 seconds. The clock is running here in Tampa, Florida. The Buccaneers, upset-minded at 4-8. They won't make the playoffs this year. But they've been involved in a lot of close affairs. In fact, 10 of the 12 games so far this year have been decided by 7 points or less. So they're in every contest.
Yeah, the kicking game has really been a problem for them, and has been throughout the history of this franchise.
The ball's at the 17. The Bird. Look-in pass. House caught inside the 5. And another first down for Tampa Bay. In a lot of traffic, Kevin House battled for it.
Here again, look at all the room he's got. Irvin, number 47, is playing very soft. They throw the ball inside, a little bit behind, but in spite of that, he has great concentration and still maintains possession of the ball. He got a good shot from the outside, but he still held onto the football.
Kevin House is now 1 reception shy of the Tampa Bay season record. He has 57. And that matches James Wilder's output of last year. Next pass House catches will be a club record. Here is Wilder inside the 5, tackled at the 3, and a fine play by Mel Owens. He might have saved a touchdown right there.
He had a big seam there, a big gap. It looked like really when it opened up that he was going to be able to go in unmolested for the touchdown. But Mel Owens came in there and made a beautiful play, number 58. Watch the right side of your screen. Now watch. Good blocking at the point of attack. Watch him going through the hole here. And inside comes Mel Owens, number 58, and makes the play.
Former number 1 draft pick. He was a big play player last year. Has been very reliable all season this year for the Rams. 3 tight end alignment on 2nd down and 2 at the 2. Wilder is in for the touchdown. For James Wilder, his 9th touchdown of the season. He hasn't scored a touchdown as a receiver, oddly enough, Hank, but he's got 9 as a runner, and Tampa Bay leads it 9-0.
I'm going to tell you something. That offensive line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is really coming into their own. They're really blocking well. Sanders, Wilson, Farrell, Keller, Bujnak, all coming off the ball in great shape.
O'Reilly will try to add the 10th point with DeBerg holding with 1 minute and 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. The kick is good. So the Rams find themselves in the hole. Penalty marker is down, however.
85 offense, holding.
Mark Whitty of Tampa Bay is holding on the play, so they're going to have to kick this one over. One of 4 tight ends that John McKay has on his roster. So this will be a longer than usual conversion.
O'Reilly is a very unusual style of kicking. He does a little tap dance before he makes the kick. We get a picture of this, you'll see it. Watch the little jig he makes with false step with his. Watch it.
And this kick is blocked. So O'Reilly has the kick blocked, and it'll be 9-0. So, Hank, that bears watching to see whether that comes back to haunt the Buccaneers.
That can always be a factor. Anytime you take false steps as a kicker, why, it gives the defense more time to come through there and make the block. It looked like, I couldn't tell for sure whether Green.
Gary Jeter, I think, Hank, might have been right there. In any event, O'Reilly doesn't make good, and Tampa Bay's lead is 9-0. We'll be back with 1:20 to go in the first quarter. L.A. Rams 9-0 with 1 minute and 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram on Obed O'Reilly, who had his conversion blocked by Gary Jeter following a holding penalty against Tampa Bay, will be kicking off to Barry Redden and Drew Hill. And it's Drew Hill on the 10. Hill brings it out to about the 30-yard line. Well, we want to remind you that next Saturday, CBS Sports will present the 85th Army-Navy game for Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Navy leads in the series, Hank, 40-37. There have been 7 ties, one of college football's strongest rivalries.
It really has been. It's one of the great rivalries in the history of college football, and creates a lot of excitement all over the country.
That'll be noon Eastern time from Philadelphia next Saturday, Army-Navy, and that's all you need to say. 1st and 10 at the 30 for the Rams. Eric Dickerson and Dwayne Crutchfield. First time we've seen the 2-back offense. In motion is Ellert, and Crutchfield gets it to the 36-yard line, and a gain of about 6 yards. Chris Washington and Leroy Selman make the tackle. So you said they're going to have to watch out for number 63 today.
Yeah, you have to block him because he's a dominant player. Uses his hands very, very well. Look at him, uses his hands right there. Wards off Pankey, the blocker, and comes on the inside and makes the play.
2nd down and 3. Crutchfield has become the 2nd leading rusher for the Rams this year. Crutchfield again, 1st down. 2nd effort as he bowls his way to the 45. David Logan makes the tackle. Well, Jeff Kemp, as we said, making his 10th start, but Vince Ferragamo had his best week of practice since injuring his throwing hand in the 3rd week of the season. He was not prepped for this game. He could play. It's not likely, though, but somewhere down the line, you may see Vince Ferragamo before this season is over.
Yeah, that's a distinct possibility, and I'm sure he feels excited about that. You know, one thing about the Rams, they have such a big offensive line. They just have to be patient and get that good push and move the ball on the ground like they do so well.
Well, the quarter is over. There's the gun, and at the end of the 1st quarter, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers having field position and taking advantage of it, leading the Rams 9-0. The Rams need the wild card berth. They've got to come back if they have a shot. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram as we start the 2nd quarter in Tampa with the Bucs, the hometown team, leading 9-0. The Rams have it 1st and 10 on the 45. They had the ball for only 8 plays in the 1st quarter. They had the 3rd lowest time of possession in the league coming into this weekend. Eric Dickerson into Tampa Bay territory and picks up 8 yards before Leroy Selman makes the tackle. Let's take a look at some scores around the league right now. Pittsburgh jumping ahead of San Diego. Both teams are 6-6. Houston and Cleveland 7-7 in the 1st quarter.
Cincinnati, look at that. They're hot, 21-0 over Atlanta in the 2nd quarter. And Buffalo zip, and Washington 10. That's in the 1st quarter.
Theismann to Art Monk. St. Louis has jumped ahead of Philadelphia in a very important NFC East battle in St. Louis. 2nd down and 2 at the 47-yard line. Again, it's Dickerson, and Dickerson has a 1st down to the 42-yard line. Right now, for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
Dick, here's the latest now on Atlanta, a team which has lost 6 in a row. Mike Morosky must quarterback for the rest of the year because of Bartkowski's injury. Robert Jackson with the intercept for the Bengals zips in 28 yards for the touchdown. It's 21-0 Cincinnati. Let's go back to Dick.
Well, you're right, Hank. Cincinnati has been red hot, piling it on.
They've got a lot of good people, a lot of #1 draft choices on that team, and they could come on strong at the end of the season, which we're in right now.
At the 42-yard line, opening minutes of the 2nd quarter, Jeff Kemp with his 2nd pass of the ball game completes it to Mike Gooman, who's close to another 1st down near the 32-yard line. Jeff Davis makes the tackle on old reliable Mike Gooman, who is a clutch receiver and a very fine blocker indeed.
You know, watching these two teams play is like watching a inter-squad game between Southern California and Southern California, because they both have the same philosophy, except John McKay has more ways to throw the ball right now with the experience he has at the quarterback position, but they both play the zones. They both fundamentally very much the same, and when the Rams throw the ball, they're going to have to throw it short and be patient, just like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I was going to say, you know, you have to play within yourself. And Tampa Bay is showing patience so far, and I think it's important that Kemp does the same.
If you're not careful, you know, the toughest thing in the world is to be patient. Just be satisfied to come off the bus and run the ball like you normally do it, and do a good job of moving the chains. That's all you have to do. Nothing fancy. Just come off the line of scrimmage and blow people off the line of scrimmage. That's what they have to do to get back in the game.
And avoid the turnover.
That's right.
1st and 10 at the 32-yard line. It was a 1st down. Ellert goes in motion. Here is Crutchfield. inside the 30-yard line for about 2.5 yards, and Jeff Davis again makes the tackle. So the Rams getting their deepest penetration so far in this ball game, trailing 9-0. Keep in mind that it would have been 10. O'Reilly's conversion on the touchdown in the first quarter was good, but there was a holding penalty, and then the kick was blocked, so it's 9 instead of 10.
Also keep in mind that the touchdown, it looked like it should have been a touchdown. It could have been 14 or 13, shouldn't it?
That's right. Our replay showed Carter with the ball and both feet in. 2nd and 7 at the 29. Play action. Kemp. Gooman. And nearly picked off by Chris Washington.
That time it was a play action fake, and Kemp, it looked like, got tied up with the exchange that time. He was open for a long time. Didn't get the ball out there quite soon enough, and that's why it was close. It shouldn't have been close because Gooman was open right away.
Chris Washington has had a tough task the last several weeks because he's playing for Hugh Green, who the great linebacker, who's expected off injured reserve next week. Chris Washington is tied for the Tampa Bay lead in sacks. He's a rookie out of Iowa State on the 6th round, playing well.
And he's 6'4", 220. He's got great size and good quickness.
3rd down and 7 at the 29. Kemp fires, caught by Ellard inside the 10, and a first down near the 5-yard line. Jeremiah Castile makes the tackle, and so Henry Ellard, the leading receiver on the Rams, with a 23-yard pickup.
Jeff Kemp really did a good job of hanging in, a good pass protection, but the key to the play was the fact that he came back for the ball. Watch him come back for the ball, and that was the key difference in whether he made the catch or whether or not he didn't. Good protection by the offensive line. Look at this. Kemp goes back quickly. Look at the protection by Ken Hill and also Irv Pankey, Doug Smith. They all do a good job up front, and they succeed in making a big play.
So far, you've had good praise for both offensive lines today.
Yeah, they're doing a good job.
1st and goal on the 6 for the Rams, trailing 9-0. Dickerson giving ground and stopped at the 2 by Castile, coming up from his cornerback position. We talked to Eric Dickerson yesterday at practice, Hank, and he must be a mystic. He has his way of predicting how he thinks the team will do. Can you tell us that?
Well, you know, last week he felt that they were not going to play very well, and they didn't, and they lost the game. This week he felt very, very secure, very confident, said that he thinks we're going to play very, very well, and he thinks we're going to win the football game. That's what he said yesterday, and so it'll be interesting to see how this thing turns out.
That's why they call him Swami Dickerson.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, yeah.
He didn't practice Wednesday. He had a problem with his arch. He's had foot problems all year.
It's hard for him to carry that glass ball around with him all the time.
Kind of heavy. 2nd and goal at the 2 for the Rams. Dickerson gets in. Touchdown. Good block by Mike Gooman as Dickerson scores his 8th touchdown of the season. And the Rams hop back in this one.
One thing is very important for the Rams. They have to be patient, as I mentioned earlier, and they have to keep the ball away from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if they hope to win this game, because Tampa really does a great job of moving the ball with the pass and also the run. So the best thing to do is keep that offense on the bench.
But, you know, time of possession has not been kind to the Rams this year. They haven't really excelled that way. Steve Dills will hold for Lansford, who's missed 1 conversion this year. And the barefooted kicker makes good. And with 10 minutes and 28 seconds to go in the 2nd quarter, the Bucs lead is 9-7. So that extra point looms right now. The Rams are a field goal away from the lead. Eric Dickerson has scored a touchdown. So has James Wilder. And those are the 2 marquee players we talked about at the top as Mike Lansford gets set to kick off for the Rams. Michael Morton on the left and Leon Bright on the right for Tampa Bay. 9-7 the score. Both teams have been successful. Tampa Bay at home this year, and the Rams have been a good road club. And this is going to Leon Bright at the 7-yard line. Bright carries it to the 30, where Sully makes the tackle for L.A. Well, we have a college sports weekend for you. Beginning Saturday, of course, we told you about the Army-Navy game, the 85th renewal of the Service Academies battle from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. That'll be noon Eastern. And then on Sunday, NCAA basketball. Oklahoma with Wayman Tisdale, an Olympian, takes on that Saturday also at 3:30 Eastern. The Fighting Illini. Lou Henson's team will be a power. People rate him number 2 in the country going in. Oklahoma and Illinois. They've already met once this year in the Tip-Off Classic with Illinois beating Oklahoma. 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line for the Buccaneers. DeBerg going up on top. Intended for Carter, and Gary Green was with him all the way. So DeBerg trying to go long on 1st down.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a fine, very outstanding young right tackle, a rookie from Penn State, Ron Heller, who was 6'6" and 270. He's got quite an assignment blocking Jack Youngblood, but it looks like he's doing a pretty good job. Now watch Heller come off the line of scrimmage. Watch Youngblood go around the outside. Look at their hand in hand. A little holding on the play, but they don't call it. Farrell, the right guard, picks him up, but keeps Jack Youngblood from getting to the quarterback. But they're keeping 2 guys on him most of the time.
2nd and 10. The give is to Wilder. Wilder, 1st down. Mike Wilshire made the tackle on James Wilder just shy of midfield. A gain of 20, and so James Wilder is off to a sizzling start in this ball game, and Tampa Bay has a 1st down just at midfield.
One thing that's very obvious, Youngblood plays very wide most of the time. That time he pinched to the inside, and Wilder read the block and jumped to the outside. Eckern had a chance to make the tackle in the hole, but missed the tackle, and Mike Wilshire finally made the tackle from the backside, number 54.
1st and 10 at the 49-yard line. Wilder, no gain on the play, and a fine defensive pursuit by Reggie Doss, the defensive right end. Wilder is always a busy man in the Tampa Bay scheme of things. He'll carry the ball. Well, he went in with 300 carries, and DeBerg had 23 carries, 2nd.
How about Wilder's answer a couple of weeks ago? We said that Taylor of the New York Giants said that he was the best running back he had played against, and we asked him what he thought about it. He said, yeah, I think he's right.
Well, he's not guilty of false humility, that's for sure.
Yeah.
2nd down and 10. DeBerg up the middle. Wilder close to a 1st down near the 40-yard line of the Rams. Jim Collins and Vince Newsom make the stop. They may mark it short. The crowd thinks the ball should be moved up a bit, and that's exactly what they do. And they may have a measurement. They're awfully close to a 1st down. You look at John McKay, who, by the way, announced his retirement after this year as head coach, but will move upstairs as president of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's had cataract surgery and will have it again on the other eye after the season. They missed the 1st down. 3rd and less than a yard. Wilder has the 1st down inside the 40. When in doubt, give it a number 32.
You know, the other thing about Wilder, talking to the coaches yesterday, you know, they said it's amazing what a great attitude guy he is. In practice, you know, when they're getting ready to play the Rams, for example, they have to have somebody that represents the running ability of a great back like Dickerson. And normally they have somebody else who isn't playing a lot represent that person in practice. But not in this particular case. Wilder likes to play that position every week. He loves to practice, loves to play, and that's why I think he's a great back that he is.
That's an unusual side of James Wilder that people would know about.
You're right, because most of those kind of guys want to sit and watch.
Theo Bell is in as a 3rd wide receiver. 1st and 10 at the 38. DeBerg pass and hit hard is Kevin House, but he holds on to the ball inside the 25. What a catch by House. Newsom really hit him a lick.
That was a great catch, but it was a great throw. He threw right into double coverage between the short man and the deep man and got the ball right on the money. That's a low percentage kind of a pass. Key again, good pass protection, but look at, he throws right between the the cornerback and the safety and gets the ball right on the money. You don't see that happen very often.
And Kevin House has established the Tampa Bay all-time single-season receiving record with that reception. 1st and 10 now at the 24-yard line. Wilder fights his way to the 21. Eckern makes the tackle. We have 6 minutes, 25 seconds remaining in the first half. Tampa Bay leading the LA Rams 9-7. The Rams, one of many teams at 7-5 and fighting for a wild card berth. The 49ers, of course, have the NFC West all wrapped up. 2nd and 7. Jeter is into the game. Doss goes out. On the defensive line for the Rams.
You might see something to the tight end, one of the tight ends here.
The pass was intended for one of the tight ends, Jerry Bell. Jimmy Collins was defending on the play. Incomplete. That makes it 3rd down and 7.
As deep as those inside linebackers play, I'm surprised really that they haven't thrown more underneath those two linebackers. They did early in the game, but they haven't come back to it very much since.
Steve DeBerg, by the way, the last time he faced these Rams, had a 300-yard game. He was in the uniform of the Denver Broncos 2 years ago. 3rd and 7 at the 21. Penalty marker down, and they're going to stop the play right there. DeJournay, who alternates with Meisner at nose tackle.
Encroachment, defense, 5-yard penalty.
He was anxious to get to DeBerg.
You know, the other thing is very important. I think DeBerg's been around enough where he'll change the rhythm of the cadence, and that's very, very important, not to go on the same count all the time, on two, or on 3. You have to change it from a quick count to 1 or 2 or 3, and I think it's very important that you keep track of that on the sideline to make sure you're aware of what your snap counts have been.
It'll be 3rd down and 2 at the 16-yard line, so the Ram defense trying to tighten up and force Tampa Bay to try for a field goal. Play action to Berg. His pass is caught by Bell. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Jerry Bell's first touchdown as a receiver. That's a tough play to stop, Hank.
Well, it's a play-action fake. You see the linebackers go to the opposite direction. The tight end is wide open. Misdirection. They like that play in this area of the field. I'm surprised that the Rams didn't respond better to it than they actually did. But he was wide open, and again, they like it very much. The linebackers went one way, and the tight end went the other.
Obed Ariri in the ball game. It's now 15-7.
Watch his footwork again. Look at the dance step he does before he kicks.
That's the cha-cha. Kick is good. 5:42 remaining in the first half. Jerry Bell from Steve DeBerg at 16-7. The Bucs. In the scoring drive, a 20-yard screen pass to James Wilder and a 14-yard play in which House made a terrific catch on a hard hit, setting up DeBerg's touchdown pass to Jerry Bell, and it is a 16-7 game, Tampa Bay leading. A few weeks ago, Hank, we saw the Buccaneers spoil a New York Giant playoff bid. Of course, the Giants came back to beat the Cardinals last week.
Listen, they're playing well enough to beat anybody at this stage of the season. Their offensive line and their offense have really gelled. They're throwing the ball well, running it well. They got people healthy. They're tough.
Every team they play will tell you that. Ariri kicking off to Drew Hill. And Drew Hill gets stopped shy of the 30-yard line by George Peoples. So the Rams will start at the 30, and John Robinson's team is trailing with 5:31 remaining in the second quarter. Lead all the way, and it's 16-7 with 5:31 to go as Jeff Kemp, who is 3 for 4 for 36 yards, brings his team out at the 30. Eric Dickerson gets by Selman, picks up a few. Fred Acorn is the nickel back. He's on the sidelines right now for Tampa Bay, but he was the object of an age-old ploy that always happens around Thanksgiving.
Well, I think it happens around the league all the time, but it happened here Thanksgiving Day. The players sold Acorn on the fact that he would go down to the grocery store and get a free turkey. All he had to go down and tell him who he was. So he sent his girlfriend down. She went down. They didn't know anything about it. And then, of course, what happens, she comes back and gives them the sad news, and then Coach McKay gives him a turkey. He buys him a turkey and gives it to him for having a good time with the, with the fun of the thing. Happens every year.
Ron Brown on a screen pass, a wide receiver screen, carries it out close to midfield. Jeff Davis making the tackle. Gain of 15. Ron Brown is seeing more and more action, and normally he's a speedster going downfield.
play action fake to the outside to Dickerson to get the linebackers and flow that way. They got a good seam. Doug Smith, number 56, gets out there in good shape and throws a good block. And, of course, the receiver, Brown, does the rest with a good run.
They rule out a lateral, so that was a 15-yard run by Brown. George Farmer in the game as a wide receiver. And here is Crutchfield, who's getting a lot of calls in this game. And Crutchfield brings it out now to the 44-yard line, and a good gain. Scott Brantley and David Logan make the tackle. There's the story. We have under 4 minutes to go in the first half, and the Rams trying to get back closer in this ball game.
Crutchfield's like trying to tackle a rolling manhole cover. He's about 245 pounds, 6 foot tall, and he's strong.
Never heard it quite described that way. 2nd and 3 at the 44-yard line for L.A. The manhole cover gets it again, and now you know why Hank called him that. First down inside the 40 for the Rams. Brantley and Davis making the tackle, and that offensive line is really firing out.
Well, they're big and strong. They're bigger than the defensive line. Look at this. Look at the block they get on Logan. Hera does a good job of blocking Logan, and as a result, when they get a good push, and anytime you get a push with that big, strong running back like he is, Crutchfield got through there in good shape and picked up the necessary yardage for the first down.
And the ball at the 39. Crutchfield has gained 30 yards on 5 carries. Dickerson is the lone running back. Kemp. Pass is caught by Farmer, and Farmer has a first down to the 20-yard line. Thompson makes the tackle. Somebody gambled and missed on Farmer, and it was Castile.
He throws the ball out in the flat area here. Good protection. And watch Castile come up, not under control. He makes an inside-outside move, goes right down the sideline. A great move by George Farmer, and he takes the ball right down the field, down the sideline. They have good possession on about the 20.
Gain of 18 yards, so George Farmer was a leading receiver last year with 40 catches.
They got a one-on-one on the outside to the left. Look at that. They like to throw with him in motion.
1st and 10 at the 20. Kemp tipped and nearly picked off by Scott Brantley. Leroy Selman got his hand on it.
At that time, it looked like Jeff Kemp made up his mind he was going to throw the ball underneath the linebackers in the middle. Gooman was open in the flat, but he never took a look out there at all. And as a result, they knocked the ball down. It falls incomplete and almost was intercepted.
2 minutes, 13 seconds remain in the first half. Not who they play other than the Bears. The Buccaneers play everyone close. They're leading 16-7. 2nd and 10, Dickerson. Couldn't roll off a block. He had Bill Bain blocking. Scott Brantley, though, makes a fine tackle, and it'll be 3rd and long for the Rams, and we're going to have our 2-minute warning right now.
Well, there was a big gaping hole there, and it looks like he was going to get a lot more out of it than he actually did, but Brantley made a great play.
And we'll be back. First half, we have 2 minutes remaining here on a beautiful afternoon in Tampa. The Rams at 7-5 coming off 31-6 thrashing at the hands of Green Bay, in which the Rams, admittedly self-destruct, face a 3rd and 7 on the Tampa Bay 17.
Well, there again, they got a one-on-one on the left side and good, a lot of room.
Penalty markers fly. Kemp throwing, and they're going to rule that an incomplete pass because Kemp's arm was in motion. But keep in mind, the penalty flag was thrown. Carl Morgan made the hit on Kemp. Gene Barth will tell us about the flag. It looks like Tampa Bay was really trying to get to Kemp and had a blitz on.
I don't know whether it wasn't the quarterback that jumped out of there prematurely and got everything started.
Penalties, illegal motion, number 80, encroachment on a defense. We'll replay the game.
Yeah, little double dip. Little double dip there.
Ellard for the offense. So it'll still be 3rd down and 7. Does that help the offensive team to know that the Buccaneers were coming on that play?
Not especially because they probably won't come this time.
The old mind game then.
Yeah, the old schoolhouse game. That's right.
2 tight ends, David Hill and Mike Barber. Ellard and Ron Brown. Ellard at the top of your picture.
Well, look at the middle of that offensive line. Is it a big hole there?
3rd and 7. Kemp's pass is caught inside the 10. No, they rule it incomplete. Dickerson couldn't hold on, and it'll be 4th down. So an incomplete pass to Dickerson, covered by Scott Brantley, and now Mike Lansford will come on and try to cut the Tampa Bay lead to 16-10. Lansford has hit 9 out of his last 10, and last week had a career-high 50-yard field goal against Green Bay. This will be from 34 yards out. Steve Dills, the backup quarterback, holding. .148 remaining in the first half. Lansford's kick is good, and it's now 16-10 ball game. 1:44 remaining. John Robinson and John McKay. Buccaneers lead the Rams 16-10 with 1:44 remaining in the first half, and each team has the full complement of 3 timeouts remaining. Mike Lansford will be kicking off to Michael Morton and Leon Bright. They're in a stack formation. They want Morton to get the ball, and Morton is going to get the ball this time at the 2. And Morton trying to turn the corner, and he does. To the 43-yard line. David Crodop made the tackle, and Michael Morton with a 43-yard kickoff return couldn't come at a better time.
Watch the pocket for him here. Morton gets the ball. Now, the great thing he does, he comes right up the right side, then he breaks to the left side, the ball away from pressure where he can get some help with his right arm or right shoulder if he has to. He's got terrific speed. Going down the far side, cuts back to the inside, and finally gets tackled. But it's a beautiful 43-yard return by Michael Morton.
And an injured Tampa Bay player on the field. There's Morton on the sideline after busting a pretty good kickoff return. Mike Whitty is the injured Buccaneer. It's on the sidelines, being tended to there. And Steve DeBerg will go to work for the Buccaneers. You know, that 300-yard game last week against the 49ers was his 9th of his career, and I think, Hank, a lot of people don't know how long he's been around and how well he's done for people like Bill Walsh in Denver.
And I don't think they realize how good he is. He really is an excellent quarterback, very intelligent, very bright, a very hard worker. They used to talk about when he was at San Francisco and also Denver, he would record the quarterback meetings and then play him back, walk around the campus and play him back on his old headset and listen to what the coaches had to say. But he's a keen student of the game and very, very accurate passer.
155 yards, so he's on mark for a 300-yard gain as Norwood Fan, who's been an outstanding special teams player, comes off the field for the Rams. So both sides had a player shaken up on that play. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Buccaneers. John McKay trying to end up in a blaze of glory as head coach of the Bucs. His final games before he moves up to president. That's how much time remains in the first half. Ball's at the 44-yard line. DeBerg under pressure, dumps it off to Wilder, and Wilder loses the ball, I think. Let's see. Mike Wilshire grabbed hold and wouldn't let go. It's all going to go for no gain. And
Youngblood got through there again that time on Heller, got good penetration, and got the quarterback just in time.
Tampa Bay was charged with a timeout because an injured player in the last 2 minutes get hit for a timeout, so the Bucs have 2 remaining. Jeter chasing DeBerg. DeBerg gets away to midfield and is shy of a first down by 4 yards, and now Tampa Bay calls timeout with 51 seconds to go, and now they have 1 timeout remaining in the half. Want to remind you, coming up at halftime, the NFL Today with Brendan Irv will have scores and highlights and legends of the game. Former Minnesota Viking Jim Marshall, of course, you played against him in the Super Bowl that you won.
Yeah, he's very active, very quick, and of course played for a long time. He was really a terrific defensive end.
Want to tell you the second half of our doubleheader, the 49ers against the New Orleans Saints, who have their playoff hopes very much alive. Viewers in Los Angeles will not see that game. Chicago can wrap up the NFC Central with a victory over Minnesota thanks to Green Bay getting upset by Detroit Thanksgiving Day. John Robinson and John McKay, you know these coaches well as far as how close the two of them have been.
Well, you know, they're good friends. They haven't had a chance to get very close because Tampa and Los Angeles, a lot of real estate between those two great cities, and so they haven't seen a lot of each other the last 9 years, but they're good friends, have great respect for each other, great admiration for each other, like each other very, very much, contrary to what some people have thought in the past. That's not true, that they do not like each other.
You know, John Robinson said yesterday, we were with McKay, he says, they never let you enjoy a win over a weak team. And John McKay was head coach and Robinson was his assistant.
Yeah, that was funny. We'll talk about that in a minute.
3rd down and 3. DeBerg up the middle. Carter has it. First down and gets out of bounds to stop the clock. And now they say that he did not get out of bounds. And that's going to force Tampa Bay into calling their last timeout of the first half. But a good play and run by Gerald Carter, good for 13 yards.
Here they get a little pick here again. See, now Carter goes to the inside after the pick and breaks away from the defensive back, Gary Green, number 27. Catches the ball right on the numbers, heads for the far sideline. Green is involved in trying to make the tackle, along with Vince Newsom, number 22.
Is Gene Barth, who is the referee of today's game. 40 seconds remaining. The Buccaneers are out of timeouts. 1st and 10 on the Ram 37. Tampa Bay leading 16-10. DeBerg to Wilder, and Wilder is hit by David Croda. Loss of a yard on the play. The clock is running. 25 seconds to go. The least DeBerg will have to do is throw the ball out of bounds, but he's not in field goal range now, is he?
No, he isn't. And they're not getting enough pressure on him either. He's got too much time to throw the ball.
Overthrown to Kevin House. Stops the clock with 14 seconds to go.
Reggie Douse that time got some pretty good penetration and got a leaping attempt at the ball, and he made him throw it way high and threw it out of bounds. I think one thing you have to do, Dick, when you play against DeBerg, he's very, very good in the pocket, especially good when he's able to set and throw. I think one thing you have to do against him, you got to flush him out of the pocket. He does not throw nearly as well on the run as he does from the pocket. You got to get inside pressure on him to flush him, and they haven't done that so far.
We haven't had a sack in the ball game by either club. Quarterbacks have remained upright. It'll be 3rd and 10. 14 seconds on the clock. And see if the clock ran down.
Delay a game.
30-second clock expired, so a 5-yard penalty will be tacked off against Tampa Bay, and they really are moving out of even long field goal range right now. 12 seconds to go, no timeout.
Seconds back on the clock. Should be 14 seconds. Should be
reset the
14
clock to 14
seconds.
seconds now.
I think the Rams and Johnny Robinson ought to feel very good if they can go in at halftime just 16-10 behind. Because really the Tampa Bay Buccaneers really dominated the first half. They had the ball a lot and they moved it up and down the field very well.
One point that bears watching was that conversion that was missed, giving Tampa Bay a 6-point lead instead of a 7. And of course, they got a field goal early that might have been a touchdown.
Yeah, the kicking game can determine anywhere from 5 to 7 games a year, and we'll see if this has any effect on it today.
Prevent defense for the Rams. 3rd down and 15. DeBerg throws up a Hail Mary pass. Knocked away with 6 seconds to play. Well, you saw a Hail Mary pass, of course, Thanksgiving Day, the Detroit Lions just before the half, and they used that momentum to engineer a victory over Green Bay.
It really was. It was an incredible play. It was so obvious. The 3 receivers just ran right down the field. He threw it up there, but they came away with it and made a touchdown before the half.
And maybe the most dramatic of all the Hail Mary passes may go down in history. Doug Flutie's pass to Gerard Phelan that won that incredible game that you saw on CBS on Friday when Boston College defeated Miami in a game we'll be talking about long after we're gone.
What a sensation.
4th down, and DeBerg is going to try it again. Short pass to Dickerson. He's hit, and the clock expired. That's the end of the first half. Mel Owens on the hit on Dwayne Dickerson. Tampa Bay has the lead, 16-10. Dickerson and Wilder have scored. DeBerg has a touchdown pass to Jerry Bell. And each team has a field goal. O'Reary and Mike Lansford. Tampa Bay Buccaneers in an upset roll, leading 16-10 over the Rams, who are 7-5. And of course, the Rams will know that this is a conference game, and that could be one of the tiebreakers somewhere down the line for a wild card. Halftime at Tampa Bay. We'll be back with the NFL Today in a moment.
Reminder that coming up later this afternoon on CBS, we could decide 2 divisional races. The San Francisco 49ers, with a win over New Orleans, would wrap up the NFC West. And, of course, the Chicago Bears could win their first title since 1963 if they beat the Minnesota Vikings. And speaking of the Vikings, during the 70s, they went to the Super Bowl 4 times in 8 years. Now, the heart of their team was a strong defensive line known as the Purple People Eaters. And one member of that quartet was Iron Man Jim Marshall, who played 20 seasons in the NFL. But as Irv Cross now tells us in this Legends of the Game profile, all that hard-hitting trench warfare on Sunday afternoons was a day at the beach compared to the hair-raising experiences Marshall has had off the field.
Every NFL player understands the art of survival, but former Viking great Jim Marshall could write a book on the subject. His has been a life of daring deeds and narrow escapes, as free of constraints as a philosophy he lives by.
Far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered with failure, than to be ranked with those poor souls who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, for they live in that gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. Teddy Roosevelt.
A veteran of more than 500 skydives, he's also survived a private plane crash, an accidental shooting, and an operating room hemorrhage that stopped his heart twice. In the winter of 1971, his snowmobile expedition ran into a blizzard in the Grand Teton Mountains. 17 persons went out, and the 16 who survived actually burned money to keep from freezing.
That fire saved our lives, and we built it with money, everyone's money. Everyone who has some money or any type of combustible material around. We made up a joke. The guys were saying, well, let's not take any checkbooks because we might have some rubber checks in there that might not like it. so I mean, we had a little humor. We had a little humor with it too.
Myra straight back to pass.
After several close calls with death, it's no wonder that Jim didn't lose any sleep over a mental mistake on a football field.
30-yard line. Kilmer driving for the first down, loses the football. It's picked up by Jim Marshall, who's running the wrong way. Marshall is running the wrong way, and he's running it into the end zone the wrong way. Thinks he scored a touchdown. He has scored a safety.
I got a lot of good-natured teasing from the guys. I know when we got on the airplane, they sat me up in the cockpit with the pilot. So that they said we didn't want to go back to Minnesota. You know, they didn't want to go back to Minnesota. They figured with me up there, we'd end up in Hawaii.
Jim Marshall survived life's little pitfalls to become pro football's all-time Iron Man. In 20 seasons, Marshall appeared in 282 consecutive games, an NFL record that will be awfully hard to break.
We have asked that one man to delay his entrance for a moment so that all of us will have an opportunity to express something special for a very special man. He is playing his final game at Metropolitan Stadium today. Number 7, the captain of 10 divisional champions, Jim Marshall.
Jim Marshall, a man of substance and a master of survival.
That's when men were men and the Vikings played outdoors like they should have.
Out in the snow, not over that, under that dome.
Let's take everybody to the scoreboard now and get them up to date. Here are the developments around the league. Many of you are watching this game. You know the Buccaneers are upsetting the Rams 16-10. It is a gorgeous afternoon down in Tampa. Steve DeBerg here throwing the ball into the end zone to Gerald Carter, but it is ruled no touchdown by the official. He said that Carter juggled the ball before he was in bounds. Now, John McKay says, I got to get a decent break against these guys. And James Wilder, he took care of it himself, diving into the end zone. And it was 9-0. The Buccaneers had missed an extra point. John Robinson and the Rams got a touchdown. And then DeBerg came right back, hit Jerry Bell at the 10. Bell down the sidelines, diving in, 16-yard touchdown. 16-10 at the half. The Buccaneers with the lead there. Pittsburgh all over San Diego. It is 24-3. Malone has thrown a pair of touchdown passes, 15 yards to Lips and 3 yards to John Stallworth. Cleveland beating Houston 20-7, and McDonald has thrown 2 touchdown passes for the Browns, one to his tight end Ozzie Newsome, and that was from 12 yards out. Cincinnati all over Atlanta. Turk Schonert completed his first 10 passes in that game, 10 of 11 for 157 yards and a touchdown. Washington beating Buffalo 24-7. Joe Theismann 13 of 17, 148 yards and a pair of touchdowns in that game. At the half now, Kansas City kicked a field goal with time running out in the first half. That made it 10-7. Then they intercepted a Phil Simms pass, ran it in. It is now 17-7. The Chiefs with the upset at the half. Philadelphia and St. Louis, of course. Many of you are watching this game. Cardinals lead at 7-6. And how about that kicking game, Irv, that the Eagles have suddenly found?
Boy, of course, McFadden's a great kicker, but here's a real blow to the Eagles, Brent. Early in the game, the Cardinals with a tremendous pass rush here from Greer and Galloway, sacked Jaworski, and he wound up with a fractured fibula.
And he will be out for the remainder of the season. Neil Lomax from the shotgun here for the Cardinals going to stump Mitchell at the 15. Mitchell in for the touchdown, and that put the Cardinals up. Joe Pisarcik had a touchdown right here, Irv, and I guess it hit Mel Hoover in the wrong spot, huh?
You couldn't draw it up any better. Perfectly executed play except for the catch. Bounced off the shoulder pad.
All right, and the NFL Today will continue on CBS after these messages from your local stations. Irv, I can remember when Jan Stenerud was just a rookie.
Brent, that goes way back. He's been around a long time. You know, Minnesota's Jan Stenerud is the oldest player in the NFL. He's been kicking field goals in pro football since 1967 when he played for the Kansas City Chiefs. In fact, many Viking fans who cheer him now have unhappy memories of Stenerud's performance in Super Bowl IV. Brent?
This will be from about 48. Dawson holding. Stenerud booms it there, and it's good.
All those years of kicking under pressure has not made the challenge any easier for Stenerud.
It's hard to explain really how you feel. The key is to feel very low. I've attempted 500-some field goals, and I guess before every field goal, you're kind of hoping they're going to make a first down or a touchdown.
A native of Norway who attended Montana State, Jan turns 42 tomorrow, and that amuses his younger teammates.
He's so senile. You know, everything has to be right for him, and sometimes he forgets my name. He calls me Darren, Steve, or whoever.
During training camp, everyone would be drinking iced tea, juice, milk, and he was always drinking Geritol.
Being part of pro football for so long, met all the great people that I've met, some of the disappointments, some of the exciting and great moments. It's been tremendous.
So, happy birthday, Jan, from all of us here at the NFL Today. And also, greetings from the International Brotherhood of Kickers around the NFL.
Jan, Kate Miller Poltje, huis Canary en Boderlaat.
Så lycka med födelsedagen idag.
Att de är bra, Jan Stenerud. Ja, happy birthday. Jan och Dafma. Jag kan gå.
Forrest Gregg wishes he was the person cutting that birthday cake.
Boy, I tell you, Green Bay really missed him this year.
They sure did. Let's send you back now to the stadium and the game you're enjoying on CBS.
Had the ball 8 times in the first quarter, so that's the reason for the distribution of yardage. But I think the big problem has been really defensively. Either one of the two teams have been able to stop the other team. The Rams stopped themselves one time with a fumble, but that's really been the difference.
All right, and keep in mind, Gary Jeter's block of an Ariri conversion could loom large in this game. It is 16-10 in the ball game in favor of the Buccaneers, and so the Rams score a touchdown and get a conversion. They have a lead. This game is crucial to the Rams in their wild card bid. We'll be back. We start the second half here in Tampa, Florida. This is Dick Stockton and Hank Stram. The Buccaneers will be kicking off. Obed Ariri will be kicking to Barry Redden and Drew Hill. Bucs lead the Rams 16-10. Rams are one of many clubs with a 7-5 record, and that kick is going to sail out of bounds, and so Ariri will be kicking again from his 30-yard line. John Robinson and John McKay have never opposed each other. Of course, a lot of people talk about coaches going up against each other, but how much does that come into play realistically?
No, I think they over-exaggerate that situation because really you don't care who's across the sideline because the guy across the sideline, he's not going to play in the game. You're worried about the players, and the only thing that really matters is win the game. Somehow, some way, win the game. It doesn't make any difference how friendly you are or what kind of a person he is. Anything about that at all is unimportant. Just win the game.
When Robinson was talking about McKay yesterday in practice, he said he had the tablet. He remembered he was a great student of the game, and he says he took that tablet with notes about football everywhere he went, and we mean everywhere.
Yeah, he loved to talk about it. I remember years ago we go to clinics, and boy, we really singe each other's ears with all the football talk and the X's and O's.
Four NCAA national titles at USC. Only Bear Bryant one more than John McKay. Here's Drew Hill, and they tee it up at the 30-yard line. And now the second half is underway, a low line drive, and it's going to get by Hill, and it'll go into the end zone, and Hill will down it there for a touchback. And a good thing he did. Want to remind you, the Army-Navy game. Always exciting. Doesn't matter what the team's records may be. Army-Navy is something special, and you'll see it on CBS Sports next Saturday at noon Eastern Time.
James McDonald that time, number 83, the ball came right to him, and I think Eller thought he was going to catch it, and he ducked, and it went right over his head. He should have made the catch. He'd have had much better field position, plus the fact he's a tight end, so he should have been able to make the catch.
You take it, I don't want it.
Yep.
They're on the 20. Jeff Kemp. 4 for 7. 55 yards. Goes to Eric Dickerson on the first play. David Logan grabs a hold of him, but not before Dickerson carries it out to the 26-yard line. Dickerson in the first half gained 49 yards in 10 carries. A 4.9 average is not bad at all. His longest gain was 8. So keep in mind now, Dickerson is trying to chase O.J. Simpson's record. And we'll tell you about what Dickerson has to do to try to catch O.J. It's not going to be easy. But he's got a shot. Second down and 5 at the 25. And David Hill goes in motion. Dickerson again. Good blocking. And Eric Dickerson has a first down to the 34-yard line, tackled by Robert Thompson and John Cannon. O.J. Simpson, of course, broke the record for the most yards, over 2,000. This is what he did through the first half of the year. He had the edge on Dickerson. Now the second half. So Eric Dickerson needs to gain that much yards to surpass O.J. Simpson. Has to average 141, and right now he's got just over 50 yards in this game. First and 10, Kemp hitting Hill, the tight end, who brings it out to the 42-yard line, and a gain of 8. Scott Brantley making the tackle. They don't use David Hill deep anymore as he was used in Detroit as a receiver. Strictly a blocker and maybe short passes over the middle.
Take a good look at him, and you can easily understand why they do use him deep. He's really a great blocker, and really he's more like a tackle playing tight end.
Of course, David Hill, and of course Jim Hill, who's a colleague of ours at CBS, and of course well known to Los Angeles viewers, and Gary Green are all related.
Yeah, but he really is an excellent blocker.
Second down and 1, movement in the line. Mike Barber, and they're going to have a conference first. Dennis Hara has invited himself into the meeting.
Jeff Kemp has evidently done a pretty good job of changing the rhythm of the count.
Encroachment, number 78 defense, 5-yard penalty.
John Cannon, 5 yards.
And I mentioned that earlier about changing the rhythm of the count. He's done a pretty good job of that, evidently, because they've been offside 2 or 3 times this afternoon. You know, his dad was great at that. Jackie Kemp was great at making you jump offside because of the change of the rhythm.
We saw Jack Kemp, who likes to see his son play every chance he gets. We saw him last night coming into the hotel. So when you go offside on the 2nd and 1, it's 1st and 10 now for the Rams at the 48-yard line. Less than 3 minutes gone by in this 3rd quarter. Buccaneers lead the Rams 16-10. Dickerson nowhere to go. And lives his way into Tampa Bay territory to the 48-yard line. John Holt ran him out of bounds, but he was trapped, and I thought he escaped pretty well.
He really did escape very, very well. It looked like he was going to. Now, there's a great illustration of a great stretch, a great back stretching a loss or a no gainer into maybe a gain of a yard or 2, and that's what the great backs are able to do.
You know, we talked about the comparison, Hank, between Dickerson and Simpson. O.J. played in only 14 games in that record-breaking year, and of course Dickerson's got 16 to break the mark. 2nd and 5 at the Tampa Bay 47-yard line. And Barry Redden, first down, still going. Barry Redden inside the 15-yard line. And John Holt again knocks him out of bounds. A 35-yard gain by Barry Redden. A hard, tough runner in his own right.
That was a trap. And watch Bill Bain, number 62. Look at him pull. He makes a great block on the defensive end. Barry Redden goes through the hole, makes a good move to the outside, and just runs out of speed. And John Holt, watch the trap block by Bill Bain. This is a great. He gets inside position with a left shoulder. You don't see that happen very often, but he gets the position on Selman just enough for the back to pop right by it.
35-yard gain. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line.
Run left here.
Gets the call and barrels his way to the 5-yard line. And it was off left tackle Dwayne Crutchfield, who had an impressive first half with 30 yards and 5 carries, is stopped by Beasley Reese and Scott Brantley. And now the Rams are threatening to tie and perhaps take the lead. Crutchfield is having an outstanding game. It'll be 2nd and 3.
The personality of this Ram team is one where they, play possession kind of football. And if they stay within a touchdown, they've got a good chance. If they have to play catch-up football, they're in trouble.
Every time they've had to play catch-up football, they haven't come through. So that's a good point. The ball's at the 5. Here's Crutchfield again to the 2-yard line and close to a first down. Mark Cotney, the strong safety, is in on the tackle for the first time today. Normally he's in on many of them. See how close they are, and apparently the Rams have a first down. It'll be 1st and goal inside the 2. So that was an important first down. Now they've got 4 shots if they want. Rams have not had the lead in the ball game.
This is no time to be fancy. This is a time where you just slash it in there, slam it in there tough, and let those big linemen do the job up front. They're going to go left.
And Dickerson, second effort, touchdown Rams. He was stopped by John Holt and brushed by him and went into the end zone for the touchdown. Eric Dickerson, second touchdown of the ball game, and we have a tie game at 16-16. At one point, the Rams had trailed Tampa Bay 10-0. And now that block conversion comes into play as Mike Lansford can give the Rams their first lead.
You're awful.
Big play was a 35-yard run by Barry Redden.
The important thing when you block for the extra point or field goal, the linemen they have to step to the inside with their inside foot, but they can't turn the shoulder. Anytime they turn the shoulder, that's when they get the lead.
Kick is good, and the Rams have the lead for the first time today. They went 80 yards in 8 plays, capped by Eric Dickerson's 2-yard run, his second score of the ball game.
Hill is leading on the play, jumps to the outside. Look at, he gets good and low and goes right through the defensive back. John Holt on the play for the touchdown.
Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Giants against the New York Jets, or other regional games next Sunday on CBS Sports.
A pretty solid scoring drive by the Rams, most of it by far 71 yards exactly on the ground, and they didn't use up all that much time, but LA has the lead 17-16 with 11:10 to go in the third quarter. Mike Lansford kicking off. Morton at the 6-yard line. He ran one back 43 yards before, and this time he takes it out to the 32-yard line. Leroy Irvin making the tackle, a 26-yard return by Michael Morton. Well, next Sunday, the NFL Today will have a look at the New York Jets, why they moved out of New York to Giant Stadium in New Jersey, and how next Sunday the Jets find themselves the home team playing in their opponent's stadium. This story and much more coming up next Sunday on the NFL Today. So a good return gives Tampa Bay decent field position, 1st and 10 on the 32, as the Bucs trail for the first time. To Berg, quick pass to House. Try to spring the wide receiver. He gets to the 41-yard line. Leroy Irvin making the tackle, shy of a first down by about a yard. Well, if you want a patient quarterback, you're looking at one right now.
Yeah, he's had a lot of good experience with the San Francisco 49ers and also the Denver Broncos, but especially with the San Francisco 49ers. And he's one of the very best at getting the ball to the backs and also the tight end on high percentage kind of passes.
And despite being on the short end last week against his former team, Bill Walsh termed his play a brilliant effort. Wilder gets tripped up. He might have had more as Wilder gets to the 46-yard line. Good for the first down. Reggie Doss might have tripped him up. But it's a first down for Tampa Bay.
Watch Collins and Eckern, 55 and 50. Eckern gets away from a block, comes in from the side, and Collins and Eckern make the play. Put him in the vise, put the squeeze on him.
1st and 10 at the 46-yard line. 9:50 remaining, third quarter.
Look how deep Wilder is. He's about 9 yards deep on the I formation.
Wilder. Shy of a first down, but he gets into Ram territory, and a good gain. Jim Collins on the tackle. He really lined up way behind the quarterback.
And you wonder, why does he line up that deep? He lines up that deep because it permits the offensive lineman, the right guard and the right tackle, a chance to pull and give him plenty of time to read the blocks, get through the hole, and make the yardage. If he's up there shallow, he might run right into those pulling linemen, and that's why he has to be so deep.
2nd down and 1. James Wilder, who had 89 yards from scrimmage in the first half, driving for the first down. He's got it. Good effort by James Wilder to the 36-yard line. Johnny Johnson, the free safety, making the tackle. And a first down for Tampa Bay.
Watch Collins, number 50. Watch them hold him. They grab him. They're holding on to him. He's still grabbing him, still holding him. But the official does not see it, and he gets by with it. Well, that's a great picture for us to see, but the very obvious holding penalty that was not called. Adger Armstrong that time also made a great block on the corner, number 46.
So the Buccaneers are driving. 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. They send Adger Armstrong out. Play action pass and the toss to Gerald Carter. Incomplete. Vince Newsom covering on the play. Not quite a play action, but a good crossing pattern that has worked for Tampa Bay with those receivers in the past.
Youngblood gets good penetration again. Here's a receiver. It's nothing but a slant pass inside between the corner of the linebacker and the safety. But the ball was thrown a little bit behind, and that's why he was not able to make the catch.
Coming into the game, House and Carter had 106 receptions, more than any other wide receiver combination in football. And it's one or the other. Last week it was Carter, the big day. House has caught 4. Set an all-time season Tampa Bay record. 2nd and 10. Pass is caught by Adger Armstrong, and Armstrong is down to the 25-yard line. 11-yard gain, and what appears to be another first down for Tampa Bay before Greg Meisner and Mike Wilshire make the stop.
Watch this again. We talked about it early. The linebackers get good depth, and watch the back finally get in there between the linebackers. There he is. He makes the catch. He's a big, strong guy and is able to make some extra yardage, specifically about 6 yards after he made the catch.
1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. House goes to the top of his screen. Armstrong in motion. Penalty markers fly, and the play is blown dead. You know, one thing is apparent so far, and the Rams are going to have to put more pressure, as you mentioned, on DeBerg. That penalty will be against Tampa Bay, and really, otherwise the Buccaneers are just going to answer whatever the Rams do.
Well, you know, the trouble really is the fact that the DeBerg does not throw very long. He's getting rid of the ball quickly, and it's hard to get to him.
Start, number 88 offense.
That was Jimmy Giles, the tight end. It'll be 1st and 15.
See, that's really the problem, you know, that he's getting rid of the ball so quickly and throwing short that it's hard to get penetration, get to him. Youngblood has got good penetration. He's licked Heller several times, but the ball is thrown right about the time he gets there.
This is a big day for Jack Youngblood, of course, coming back to the state of Florida where he played his college ball. Won't mean a thing, though, unless the Rams come out of it with a victory. 1st and 15, back at the 30. Here's a play-action pass. The throw is caught by Jerry Bell, who has a 1st down for Tampa Bay at the 13-yard line. He's a good receiver. That's why he's there. 17-yard pickup.
That's the same play they ran earlier. They faked the run, the counter run. Good faking. See, the linebackers get tied up with the fake inside, and as a result, they don't get a shot at the tight end coming across. He makes the catch. He's open, and they get a 1st down and about the 13-yard line.
He ran right into Gary Green. Jerry Bell. He caught 2 passes for 24 yards last week against San Francisco. He has a touchdown reception, his 1st of the year in this game. Wilder. Inside the 10. And a gain of about 4. Jim Collins on the tackle. And with 6.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, Tampa Bay mixing their plays well, driving downfield, trying to regain the lead that the Rams took moments ago.
Well, Johnny McKay calls the plays from the sideline. He calls most of the runs, and the other coaches call the passes. But they're doing a good job of keeping the defense off balance, and has really been very, very unpredictable, which is so important in calling plays.
2nd down and 6. The ball at the 9-yard line of the Rams. Wilder fumbles, but it appears that Wilder picked it up in a hurry to prevent loss of the ball, and he gained maybe a yard or so beyond that.
The reverse pivot, meaning the quarterback has to turn around. He took a bad angle. The quarterback did not get over far enough to give the ball to the tailback, and that's why they didn't have a good mesh, and they almost fumbled the football.
That's the time remaining in the 3rd quarter. Adger Armstrong goes out, and in with the play is Kevin House. Caught more passes in a season than any Buccaneer in history. Carter goes out to the right, House to the left, and there are 2 tight ends, Giles and Bell.
Well, they got a bump and run again. They like to throw up on top in that situation. Rolling out again.
3rd and 3. DeBerg's pass.
No.
Did not have control. Jimmy Giles was there, but he bobbled the ball. And that will be an incomplete pass, 4th down.
Misdirection again. They fake it, pull the guard. He gets around the outside. The linebacker gets penetration, but doesn't make the play. He throws the ball well on the run, but he just does not have possession of the ball. And as a result, they're going to have to kick it. And watch Carter, 87. Look at how wide open he is in the end zone. Both of them are open, but they just did not make the play.
This will be a 24-yard attempt. O'Reilly is 7 for 7 inside the 40-yard line this year. And now he's a perfect 8 for 8. So the Rams defense stops Tampa Bay, but not before Obed Ariri kicks his 2nd field goal of the ball game. And with 4:58 remaining in the 3rd quarter, the Buccaneers regain the lead, 19-17. Lead the Rams now, 19-17. Obed Ariri with his 2nd field goal of the ball game, and that's how it all started. The Bucs had a 10-0 lead at one point. They missed a conversion, and ultimately the Rams here in the 3rd quarter took a 17-16 lead on Dickerson's 2nd touchdown before Ariri put the Bucs back ahead.
You know, this kicker has kicked the ball out of bounds a couple of times so far this afternoon. That's what you do. You intimidate the kicker when you have 2 great returners like Drew Hill and Ellard back there returning the kickoff.
He keeps this one in bounds, and it'll be Barry Redden, a danger at the goal line. But he stopped shy of the 20-yard line. And the tackle by George Peoples. So Rams take over 1st and 10. Let's see what they'll do when we come back. For the Rams here.
They got to play stuff ball. They got to stuff it right at the defensive line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With that big offensive line, they got to be patient. Just keep doing what they're doing very well.
1st and 10 on the 20. They've had good run support for Eric Dickerson. Crutchfield has 40 yards. Redden 35. Dickerson is the lone back. Kemp will throw it on 1st down under some pressure. And the pass is caught by Mike Barber, the tight end, and he ends up losing a couple of yards on the play. Robert Thompson, the linebacker, who's playing in place of Keith Browner and missed the first 7 weeks with a couple of broken toes, was right there to stop Barber. Let's take a look at some scores now around the league. Pittsburgh way ahead of San Diego, 31-17. Steelers leading in the AFC Central. Cleveland coming on as of late. We'll have more. 2nd down and 11. Loss of 1. Back at the 19. David Hill and moves. Dickerson to the 21. Crowd loves it when Eric Dickerson gets stopped, and he was stopped for a 2-yard gain there.
I mentioned I think the coaches have done a good job of slowing down the offside on the pursuit. That's really why he's not able to cut back like he likes to do.
Chris Washington and Scott Brantley made the tackle. Washington over Buffalo. Theismann, 2 touchdown passes, including one to Charlie Brown, just off injured reserve. Buffalo, the upset victors over Dallas. Look at that score. Kansas City surprising the Giants. 3rd down and 9. And 3rd and 9, Dickerson is stuffed. Robert Thompson makes the play. And when you said stuff ball, Hank, the Buccaneers didn't hear you.
No, you're right. Look at this. Both the left guard and the left tackle, Pankey and Hill, are pulling on the play. But Thompson comes across there and makes a great play from the left linebacker position.
Someone asked John McKay, what is Thompson doing that Browner is not? And John McKay said, lining up at the right place.
Yeah, they're very disappointed in Browner. He hadn't played nearly as well as they thought that he would. Not to mean that he's not going to be a great player, but right at this time, they're a little disappointed.
Bisco punting to Leon Bright on the run at the 45 and gets to the 43-yard line. Penalty flag is down. Way back at the 10-yard line. Barry Redden makes the tackle on Leon Bright. And illegal procedure called against the Rams, and Tampa Bay will be wise to decline that.
You think they'll turn this down?
After a long discussion, they may go that way. So Tampa Bay leading.
Illegal formation on the kicking chain. Penalty refused. 1st down.
With a lead and 2:37 to go in the 3rd, and John McKay's team has the ball 1st and 10 on the Ram 44. Green may find his way back into the lineup one of these days for Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I think he'll be back stretching the pores next week. He's supposed to be ready. I talked to him before the game, and he said he's anxious to start playing again.
One of the best in the league, and when he and Selman, of course, they're on the same side of the field, teams like to go the other way, needless to say.
That's right. You really have to deliberate a long time to figure out a game plan with those two guys on the right side.
Although Washington's played well today, and so is Thompson. Huh?
They're two terrific young linebackers.
1st and 10 for the Buccaneers on the Ram 44, leading by 2, and the pass is off the fingertips, incomplete. Kevin House, and that appeared to be one that House should have caught.
That's the trouble with throwing that kind of a ball that high. It's tough to catch. You expect a shot in the back, and as a result, that kind of a ball has to be thrown right at the numbers or below for it to be a good pattern.
Of course, House has caught a couple of tough ones in heavy traffic today. 3rd quarter. Kansas City leading the Giants 17-14. Giants are one of those 7-5 teams. And in the 3rd quarter, the Cardinals lead Philadelphia. Ron Jaworski is out for the rest of the year with a broken leg. Joe Pisarcik is the quarterback. Wilder to the 40-yard line. It'll be 3rd down. And about 7, Jim Collins and Vince Newsom making the tackle. The Rams, of course, have really had to make a lot of switches in the secondary this year. Of course, Nolan Cromwell has been lost, and Eric Harris is out. He's due back next week, and so they had to switch a lot of people around, and Johnny Johnson didn't play most of the first half of the year.
Yeah, the Rams have really been like a lot of teams in the league. Really, they've been a stock market team. They've been up and down. They really haven't had any real degree of consistency all year long.
3rd and 6 at the 40.
Linebackers blitzing.
DeBerg going up on top. Caught by Theo Bell. At the 9-yard line. 26-yard gain, and that's the second catch Theo Bell has caught for 26 yards today.
Boy, this is a great play on the part of DeBerg. He sees it's one-on-one. He throws the ball inside with Theo Bell. David caught it. Here we see it again. Look at all the room. That's the number one thing. Look at all the room he's got. Look at the big cushion. He fakes at him, comes to the inside. The ball is thrown. The ball is thrown between the offensive man and the defensive man, and as a result, he makes the catch on David Cardit, number 28.
The ball is at the 14-yard line, not the 9, the 14, but Tampa Bay is threatening. Fumble, loose ball. Wilder coughed it up, and let's see. And Leroy Irvin going at it with Sean Farrell for a moment. Jerry Bell recovered the fumble, so Tampa Bay maintains possession. Chance for a break for the Rams. John Robinson has to be a little over-anxious at this point.
Here's that counter play again with a right guard and a right tackle pulling on the play. There you see Eckern making the tackle. The ball pops loose, and it looks like the Rams had a shot at it, but Jerry Bell recovered the fumble, number 82.
So it's 2nd down and 8 at the 12-yard line. 14 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. DeBerg swings it to Wilder. Gets by one man and now goes backward into a sea of white jerseys. And a penalty flag thrown. We're going to have a call against Newsom. Personal foul. 3 seconds remain in the 3rd quarter, and Vince Newsom has been hit with a personal foul call, and
that's a very bad play on the part of Newsom. It's tough enough. You don't want to give him anything, especially in this area, but he gives him half the distance. It makes it a lot easier for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 22 defense, 1st down.
So instead of 3rd down, it is an automatic 1st down, and that really hurts. That's the time remaining. The ball is at the 6-yard line. The Bucs lead by 2, 19-17, and threatening to open it up again to 9. The Rams were hit by penalties galore last week. They had 13 of them in the game for over 100 yards. 9 times in the 2nd quarter they were penalized. 1st and goal at the 6, and this should be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Jerry Bell in motion. Play action. Pass. Adger Armstrong. Touchdown.
Talk about a great play by DeBerg. Watch the linebackers blitzing on the play. Look at play action fake. The linebacker blitzing. Here he comes. But he gets rid of the ball right in the flat to Armstrong before anybody else can come in from the inside. Eckern gets there, but it's too late. He puts the ball in the end zone. Touchdown, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And an injured Ram on the field, Adger Armstrong. The injured Ram is Mel Owens, who's being tended to now, and John Robinson, the head coach, is also out there, as well as Fritz Shermer, the defensive coordinator. Time has run out in the 3rd quarter. They will attempt the conversion before they switch to the other end and the kickoff to start the 4th. Want to remind you that the 2nd half of the doubleheader, more exciting action coming up on CBS. The New Orleans Saints will try to keep their playoff hopes alive against the San Francisco 49ers, the team with the best record in the NFC. That game will be seen to our audience except in Los Angeles. For our fans watching in Louisiana, Baton Rouge specifically, the Chicago Bears go after the NFC Central title in their 1st division championship since 1963 against the Minnesota Vikings. That's coming up next on CBS. Here's Owens. on the sideline. And Obed Ariri with DeBerg holding. Takes that jitters step, as Hank pointed out. The kick is good, and once again, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lead. And we now pause for a word from your local station. They're enjoying the game here in Tampa, Florida. As we start the fourth quarter, Dick Stockton and Hank Stram. The Buccaneers leading 26-17. Matching their biggest lead of the game, 9 points. Obed Ariri kicking off to Drew Hill at the 11-yard line. Rams down by 9. Hill trying to break something and is finally tripped up at the 34-yard line by Norris Thomas. Next Saturday on CBS, we'll have a college football basketball doubleheader for you. First at noon Eastern, the Army-Navy game from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Then at 3:30 Eastern, NCAA basketball. Oklahoma, led by Olympian Wayman Tisdale, takes on powerful Illinois. Many people feel they can challenge Georgetown for the national title. It's next Saturday beginning at noon Eastern here on CBS Sports. First and 10 at the 34. Last time you said the Rams should play stuff ball, but they're down by 9 in the fourth.
Yeah, they really didn't do a good job of coming off the ball the last time, but they have better field position.
Eric Dickerson. Eric Dickerson, and he may be off. Down at the 14-yard line by John Holt, who saved a touchdown. A 51-yard run by Eric Dickerson, and when you have Eric Dickerson on your side, you can get back a lot of yards and points in a hurry.
But you give him the ball, that's the thing. You know, he might not make a lot of big plays, and all of a sudden, bang, he pops one. There you see it. Good blocking at the point of attack. Look at the gapping hole there. Goes right through it in good shape. David Hill, 81, does a great job of blocking at the point of attack. He runs right through a tackle, and finally John Holt comes over from the side, number 21, and finally makes the tackle.
His longest gain from scrimmage, 66 yards this year. This was 51, and a first and 10 Rams on the Buccaneers 15. Barry Redden in for Dickerson. Breaks 1, 2 tackles, and gets inside the 5-yard line before Jeremiah Castile brings him down. So Barry Redden doing a good job off the bench.
And the important thing, look at the offensive line again. They're coming off the ball in good shape. Dennis Hara really made a great block that time on Scott Brantley, and that's why he was able to pop through there like he did for the big game.
It'll be first and goal at the 2. Great support by that man, Barry Redden, by Crutchfield, number 45 in front of him, for Eric Dickerson. Dickerson has gained 117 yards.
They're going to run right here. This is what they'll usually do in this situation. Oh, they're changing the formation, going left.
Dickerson stopped short of the goal line. He has already scored 2 touchdowns, and Jeff Davis hit him hard, but Dickerson just gets to an inch or so of the goal line. And Eric Dickerson with 118 yards and 2 touchdowns, 51 of them on that big run just seconds ago. 12:45 and running, plenty of time as we just start this fourth quarter.
I was surprised he got caught, because normally when he gets it out in the open, it's adios.
Second and goal. Kemp. No signal now. Touchdown, Rams. And Jim Kemp scores for the Rams to cut the lead once again. It's 26-23 with a conversion coming up. First touchdown for Jeff Kemp.
One thing, if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers felt they were going to score, they wanted them to score very slowly and eat up a lot of time. They didn't want that to happen because they're right back in this game again.
Took the Rams only 4 plays. Dills is holding for Lansford. And the kick is good. So it didn't take much time and didn't take many plays. Eric Dickerson with a 51-yard run sparked it. Kemp scored it, and it's 26-24 Tampa Bay. 24, the Buccaneers lead the Rams, but has been the case all day, Hank Stram. You look at Dickerson, by the way, his previous long run today was 8 yards before he broke it, so you can't hold him down all day.
No, that's right, you can't. It's, you know, you might stop him, slow him down a little bit, but all of a sudden, you know, he's going to, it's like avoiding mines. All of a sudden, you're going to step on one, and that's what he just did there.
His longest run from scrimmage last week was 10 yards, matching his season's low. Kick into the end zone will be down there by Bright and taken out at the 20 by Tampa Bay. Next Sunday, and of course, the pot boils in the National Football League, in the NFC in particular. It all begins with the NFL today. Dallas and Philadelphia. And of course, the Eagles are battling the Cardinals today. That's the closest race, the NFC East in the NFL, and the Cowboys against Philadelphia will be at Veterans Stadium.
Yes, it's really a tough break for the Philadelphia team to lose Jaworski.
But Pisarcik has done it before, and he's a reliable backup.
Yes, he is.
San Francisco and Atlanta, Tampa Bay against Green Bay, New Orleans against these Rams, Detroit against Seattle. The other games coming up on CBS Sports, so check your local listings next Sunday on CBS. Norris Thomas, the injured Tampa Bay Buccaneer, coming off now. Of course, Hank, we have seen this all day, in which Tampa Bay would take a 9-point lead. The Rams might have a lead. Then it was 9, and now they're back in the game. But you'd have to say, unless the Rams can stop the Berg in Tampa Bay, it's going to be an uphill fight still.
The way it looks, pretty, the way it looks like the last team that's going to have the ball is going to win the game.
1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. To Berg, 244 yards passing so far today. He's on mark for another 300 effort. His pass, incomplete, intended for Kevin House. Throw is low.
I'm going to tell you something. Those offensive lines of both teams have really done a super job here this afternoon. There was a great illustration again of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers providing good pass protection for Steve DeBerg.
Well, Sean Farrell and Ron Heller, Penn State duo. Farrell in his 3rd year, one of the best already at right guard, and Heller, rookie, 4th-round pick from Penn State. Both went to the same school, both from Long Island in New York, and they're very close.
You know, yeah, they are. They're playing side by side. Right guard and right tackle.
Right?
That's right.
No. 2nd and 10. DeBerg tosses it. Not a good throw. After Armstrong was the intended receiver, and the pass was behind him.
You know, Glenn Bujnak looks like he's playing a good game. Number 77, who is playing for the ill Steve Corson.
Bujnak, of course, a 9-year veteran with the Cincinnati Bengals. This is his 2nd year with Tampa Bay, number 77. Boy, Corson's had some rough luck in the games 2 weeks ago. He had some oysters and he had some food poisoning.
His arms aren't big enough to play. You ever see those arms? They look like legs hanging out of the jersey, don't they?
Well, then of course, he had too much turkey, I guess, on Thanksgiving. And there he is. He's eating a lot, I'll tell you that. But it's keeping him on the sideline. 3rd down and 10. Back at the 20-yard line. DeBerg's pass is caught by Theo Bell. And now they say it's incomplete. The official came in and said that was an incomplete pass. Theo Bell, who has made 2 fine catches today, couldn't hold on to that one. Newsome and Sully defending.
Boy, watch the hit. Watch the hit here. Boy, they double dip him. Like a wish that time. Number 22, Newsome, is in there that time to make the play. It looks like he... Let's look at it again. Here is Bell making the catch. Look at the hit. And look at 37 come in also. Ivory Sully. The 2 of them really give him a shot, and he fumbles the ball, but they call it incomplete.
You know, from that first angle, you can see he really didn't have good possession of the ball when it came to him.
No, he's thrown a little bit behind and high, and as a result, he didn't really have possession.
Frank Garcia punting. Henry Eller at the 41. He's broken 2 for touchdowns. Not that time, but he has the ball as the penalty marker is down in Tampa Bay territory at the 42. Harvey makes the stop. That was a 17-yard return. Ineligible receiver downfield against Tampa Bay, and we don't have to tell you what the Rams are going to do. John Robinson just told you. Gene Barth.
Ineligible downfield, illegally, number 55 on the defense. Penalty refused, 1st down.
Danny Spradlin And we'll be back with 11:43 to go in the fourth quarter. Remaining in the fourth quarter, Buccaneers lead the Rams 26-24. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram. And the Rams, Hank, will have their best starting field position that they've had all day right now on the Tampa Bay 42.
And the important thing is field position is very important only if you take advantage of it. It'll be interesting to see what they do and how they try to do it. I just assume, again, that they'll try to stuff it at the defense and move that offensive line, that big offensive line of the Rams, and put them on man for man on the defensive line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Rams have run 30 times, passed only 9. Dickerson to the 34-yard line, gets about 7 yards on the play. Cotney and Chris Washington making the play.
You know, the amazing thing about, watch this again. Watch Washington, number 51, uses his hands in good shape, plays off the block of the tight end, and finally comes off the block and makes the tackle.
Second down and 4 at the 36-yard line. Take it to 35. Plenty of time remaining, and Dickerson again with a little head juke is thrown back and is 2 yards shy of a first down. Danny Spradlin makes the tackle.
You know, the amazing thing about Eric Dickerson is the fact, you know, he's 6'3", as everybody knows, but he's got the capacity to get very, very low and get leverage when he's about to be tackled, which is very unusual for a tall back.
He has had now 10 100-yard games this year, which is a Rams record. They've had a lot of fine running backs. Third down and 2 at the 33. 26-24. Tampa Bay in front.
They like to run left here.
Dickerson, first down, up the middle. No one's going to catch him. Touchdown, L.A. Third touchdown for Eric Dickerson today.
Mike Gooman, number 44, does a good job of blocking on the play. Watch the block he gets on number 58. And Dickerson starts to his left and cuts back to the right. And that's the thing he does so well. He's got such great vision. But Gooman, the block on Jeff Davis, was really sensational.
Eric Dickerson with his third touchdown. He has scored from 2 for the first L.A. score of the game. He gave the Rams the lead with another 2-yard run. This was 33 yards out, and Mike Lansford with the conversion. The kick is good, and it's now a 31-26 game as we watch the big block by Mike Gooman on his touchdown run.
Watch Gooman, number 44, block Hayes. Jeff Hayes, number 58. There you see the block. Right there at the hole. He starts to his left. Talking about Dickerson. He sees the big hole on the right, hits the seam, and takes it all the way in. Runs right by the defensive back, Jeremiah Castile, and goes in and gives the scorekeeper some business. Touchdown, Los Angeles Rams.
And Dickerson has gained 161 yards and has scored 3 touchdowns. What a game for Eric Dickerson. 161 yards. His biggest day was against the Cardinals, 208. And that's what he's gained this year. Hank Stram has talked about him throughout the game and at the top of our broadcast. James Wilder has had a very fine ball game, but in the second half, late in the ball game, it's been Eric Dickerson. Rams have scored touchdowns of 3 or 4 of their possessions this half as the kickoff is down in the end zone by Leon Bright. And the Buccaneers will take it over on the 20-yard line, now trailing 31-26. Coming up next, the 49ers and the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans in the playoff battle, and of course, NFL rules prohibit the game being shown in Los Angeles. The other game that some of our audience may be watching will be the Bears against the Minnesota Vikings, where Chicago, with a victory, would wrap up the NFC East title. So we know that San Francisco and Chicago, Hank, will be settled in the playoffs, and is a big battle for the other berths.
Yeah, it's amazing how each year goes right down the wire to decide who's going to be in the playoffs.
First and 10 at the 20 for Tampa Bay. 10 minutes, 11 seconds to go in the fourth. DeBerg with a lot of time completes the pass to Jerry Bell, and a first down at the 34. Jim Collins to stop.
There again, a great illustration. No pass rush whatsoever. He had all the time in the world to look around, take his time, pick out the receiver, rifle the ball. And but they have to put some pressure on him, or else they're going to be in trouble. Watch Collins number 50, and number 55. He's with him. He breaks to the other side, runs away from Collins, and makes the catch. Collins actually played him pretty well.
1st and 10 at the 34 for the Buccaneers. DeBerg has been a cool customer today. Approaching 300 yards passing. Wilder is stuck at the line of scrimmage. No gain by Carl Eckern. The man the Rams call their manager on the field. Number 55 getting up at the bottom. Two big runs by Eric Dickerson. The 51-yard scamper that set up Kemp's touchdown that put the Rams back ahead, and then his 33-yard run. L.A. is running well at 266 yards today.
Okay, both coaching staffs have really done a super job of getting their teams ready offensively. They're really moving the ball well.
2nd down and 9. DeBerg tipped, incomplete.
Mike Wilshire that time was blitzing. One of the few times they put that kind of pressure on him and made him throw the ball before he actually wanted to. That's what they have to do.
And the other linebacker, Carl Eckern, got a piece of it. 3rd down and 9. Steve DeBerg has thrown a touchdown pass in his last 8 games. He has 2 of them this afternoon to Jerry Bell and Adger Armstrong.
Now they go to their 4-man defensive line. Reggie Doss plays right in, and then the right tackle is Jerry Jeter, who is in for the first time this season.
House and Carter at the top. Theo Bell lines up to the bottom. 3rd down and 9. Fumble. Loose ball. And the Rams have recovered. Big play by the Rams. David Crudup comes up with it. And it takes someone that size to climb under the pile to pick up the ball.
Well, there was another blitz on the play, and I think the Bird saw it coming and tried to get out of there before he actually went. Watch 54 coming in on the left side of your picture. There's 50 coming also. But Wilshire was also coming. He fumbles the ball, and of course the Rams recover, and now it's 1st and 10 on about the plus 34.
And that's the first Tampa Bay turnover of the ball game, but it comes at a bad time. 1st and 10 for the Rams with 8 minutes and 37 seconds to go, and it was David Crudup, there he is, a free agent rookie from San Diego State, who wound up with it. Crutchfield.
They'll probably give the ball to Crutchfield here. He hadn't carried it for a while. There he is.
And he gets it to the 30-yard line, picks up 4 yards on the carry.
You wonder why you do that. They have to do that to keep the pressure off of Dickerson. They got to give it to him a couple of times to make them worry about him, and then they go back to give Dickerson the ball again and give him some business and get him back in the game.
And he's responded too. 43 yards today and 8 carries for Crutchfield, so he's delivered.
Yes, he has. He's big and he's strong. He's a good straight line runner, like running in a trench, but he does a good job.
A rolling manhole cover. I will never forget that. 2nd down, 6 at the 31-yard line. Under 8 minutes remaining, 4th quarter. Rams leading by 5, trying to add to it, going to Dickerson. Dickerson turning the corner. Look at that acceleration, out of bounds, 1st down inside the 15. John Holt ran him out, and 18 more yards for Eric Dickerson. And he's threatening 200 yards for the ball game.
Now, instinctively, he likes to cut back. Watch the great move he makes here. Look, he wants to cut back here, but he sees a slow pursuit, changes gears, goes to the outside, and makes a great run again. Straight arm, good straight arm, ball away from pressure. But there was another great illustration of the great vision and the decision-making on the part of Dickerson. So he really wanted to cut back, and he saw the slow pursuit, jumped to the outside, and made another big play.
Does his style remind you of anyone that you've seen over the years?
No, it really doesn't. No, I think he's Dickerson, and his style, his personality. It's easy to try to compare him with other people, but I don't think you can.
The Rams are going to use one of their 3 timeouts right here. John Robinson, seeing 7:48 to go, said, let's take our time and get something here, because maybe it could put us over the top. And we'll be back to Tampa Stadium. Of today, but the Rams have really done well in the 4th quarter. They have scored some touchdowns. Dickerson with a 33-yard run. Kemp, Dickerson earlier in the 3rd quarter. 3 and trying for 4.
Asked John how he felt about the game. He said, we're going to play well. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to play well, and this team has played well.
They have not played badly at all, and they're giving the Rams everything they can handle. 1st and 10 on the 13. Dickerson head down, gets inside the 10-yard line to the 9. Keith Browner into the ball game now. The #1 pick for Tampa Bay on the 2nd round. He's out of USC. He had a big game against San Francisco. He caused a fumble, recovered another one, and of course his brothers, Ross is with Cincinnati, Joey with Minnesota. Did not start today.
You know, the amazing thing about Dickerson and also Wilder, they're both very durable guys. Boy, they play all the time. They dance every dance, and they haven't been hurt.
183 yards, 130 of them this half. 2nd down, 7. They're going to Eric again. Not this time. And Tampa Bay's defense stormed through and knocked them for a loss back to the 14. Byron Braggs and Mark Cotney. Cotney, in particular, a hard hitter, came up and forced the play.
That was that counter play again where they pull the off guard and the right tackle. And what happens anytime you get penetration on that kind of a play when you're going sideways, you're out of business. They got the penetration. Talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and as a result, they stuffed the play, and he got some help from the backside.
It'll be 3rd down and 11. Field goal, by the way, would put the Rams up by 8 points. Otis Grant in motion. Kemp in trouble. Fires. It's caught by Grant at the 10-yard line. It'll be 4th down, and Lansford will try to do just that. Give the Rams an 8-point lead. Jeff Davis and Danny Spradlin made the tackle on Otis Grant, and here comes Mike Lansford.
Jeff Kemp got rid of that ball in good shape. He had some real tough pressure on the backside. In spite of that, he felt it, got a whiff of it, and got rid of the ball in good shape just in time.
Lansford has kicked a 35-yard field goal today. This will be a 27-yard attempt. Steve Bills holding with 5:40 on the clock. And the kick is good, and the Rams have an 8-point lead. So Tampa Bay needs 2 scores. They trail 34-26, and the Rams breathing just a bit easier in their wild card battle. 35 seconds remain in the 4th quarter. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram, and a solid ball game here at Tampa Stadium. The Rams leading by 8 points, and Mike Lansford kicking off now. An end-over-end kick, and it's Bright. Leon Bright, and Vince Newsom piles him up at the 17-yard line, and that's where the Buccaneers will take over 1st and 10. Well, we want to remind you what's coming up tonight on CBS, beginning with 60 Minutes, followed by Murder, She Wrote, The Jeffersons, Alice, and Trapper John M.D. That's the lineup tonight. A very solid Sunday on CBS.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the last 3 times they've had the ball, have really been kind of in the soup. The last 3 times, -20, -20, -17, so they haven't really had very good field position at all.
You talked about their patience, but now needing 2 scores with 5:25, they have to drop some of that.
Yeah, I think they have to try to get some big plays, something big.
Blitz picked up. They dump it off to Wilder. DeBerg to Wilder, and Wilder has a 1st down as he moves it out to the 30-yard line. Leroy Irvin makes the tackle, and a good call by Steve DeBerg.
Yeah, I think any time that you play against a team that uses the zone that much, as much as the Rams, that time they had a blitzing linebacker, Eckern, coming, but they threw a screen, which is a good play against the blitz, and it's also a very good play against zone. But he does a good job of running and gets a 1st down.
1st and 10. Dump it off again to Wilder. Wilder in the open field. There's another 1st down, and finally upended by Johnny Johnson, but not before James Wilder gets to the 45-yard line, and 2 screen passes, 2 1st downs for Tampa Bay.
See, it doesn't make any difference how you get the big plays. You dump the ball off for a 4 or 5-yard gain, let the guy run when he's a great runner like Wilder, and that's what's going on right now.
Gary Jeter and Charles Desjardins into the ball game. Good pass rushers. 1st and 10 at the 45. DeBerg. His pass is caught by Theo Bell inside the 40-yard line. A 16-yard gain, and Theo Bell with another reception. David Crodup making the tackle, and Tampa Bay is moving it in a hurry, Hank.
They really are, and that's the thing you don't want them to do if you're playing defense like the Rams, but they're doing a good job of calling plays and taking advantage of what they're getting.
1st and 10. Here goes Wilder. mixing the plays. And we've talked about that today to the 34-yard line and gain of about 5 right there. Collins making the tackle.
That was a good play call that time by John McKay. They expected pass. They were loose, very deep, and they ran the ball. Instead, we got a nice gain out of it on the play.
We have a stoppage in play. And now they threw the flag, and they may have too many men on the field. Here's Gene Bart.
12 men in the field for the defense.
Well, like you've said, Hank, as long as you don't get caught, right?
That's a good defense. They had 12 guys, and they still can't stop them. That's a problem.
12 men in the field for the defense. It's still first down and 5.
Steve DeBerg has passed for 300 yards. Another outstanding ball game for Steve DeBerg, his second in a row.
He's a keen student of the game, as I mentioned earlier. Last week they played in San Francisco. He used to play for San Francisco, and they thought guys on the team thought he'd have a lot of friends, would have a lot of fun. He didn't. He went to his room and looked at films and did more study work getting ready for the 49ers. That's the kind of a player he is.
You think he'll be a coach someday?
Well, I think he's too smart to do that.
First and 5. And DeBerg flushed out. Wilder close to the first down. He had to get to the 29-yard line. David Crodeup making the tackle. Tampa Bay lining up in a hurry. 3.5 minutes in running. They have 2 timeouts left, needing 2 scores to win the game.
And that's a smart move on their part to use the hurry-up offense. A lot of times they wait till the 2-minute offense, 2-minute period of time, but they're using it right now, which is good.
Wilder has been on the receiving end of 10 of DeBerg's passes.
Blitz, and they're not getting in there.
At the 29, the pass is almost intercepted by Vince Newsome, defending against Dwayne Dickerson. And the pass was almost picked off by Vince Newsome.
Boy, Newsome played it beautifully on that play. They had man-for-man coverage. Look at it. He anticipates the ball being thrown, and he almost came away with the interception. A beautiful play by Vince Newsome.
3:09 showing on the clock. Newsome gone between free safety and strong safety in his second year, a hard hitter. DeBerg has really passed out the goodies today. Wilder with 10. House has 4 catches. Jerry Bell, Carter, and Theo Bell each with 3.
We might see another run here, too.
Second down 10 with 3:09 on the clock.
Blitz.
Flags down. DeBerg's pass is caught to the 12-yard line by that man, Theo Bell again. A 17-yard gain. Crodeup makes the tackle, but the penalty marker's down, and let's wait a minute.
I think it's on the Rams.
Looks
They're offside.
Number 50, defense, offside.
Jimmy Collins, and they decline it. And Tampa Bay will have a 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line.
Watch James Wilder picking up the blitz on the inside, enabled DeBerg to throw the ball inside on the man-for-man coverage. And he gets the ball right on the money again. And there again, you know, he's got so much experience. Watch all the room Theo Bell's got on the defensive back. Look at all the cushion. About 6 yards, the ball is thrown. No way in the world the guy can make a defensive play.
The ball's at the 12 with 3:09 on the clock. 34-26, the Rams by 8.
Here's that pick play in the end zone again.
DeBerg's pass to House at the 5, and another flag is thrown. Leroy Irvin stopped his forward motion, but a penalty.
Might be a face mask. I don't know. Hard to tell what it was.
Leroy Irvin is pointing to Tampa Bay.
It was a pick. See, they were picking on the play. I mentioned it on the pattern, but they were pushing. It's a pick, and that's why they called a penalty.
Offensive pass interference, number 89, still first down.
Yep, that was Kevin House. Let's pick it up here.
Watch the pick. He comes in motion from the left side coming in. Kevin House.
Right there.
See, right there. He bumps off the guy and comes back to the outside, and that's evidently what they called. They called pass interference on the offense.
He pushed off Gary Green. So it'll be 1st down and 20, way back at the 22-yard line. 3:01 on the clock. 2 timeouts left for the Rams, 3 for Tampa Bay. Another flag thrown. This may be a free play for the Buccaneers. In the crowd, another penalty thrown. House was the intended receiver, And Leroy Irvin and Johnny Johnson defending, and it's going to be against the Rams in the end zone. I don't know what the other flag was.
Meisner was offside on the play, number 69, the nose tackle, I think so.
That's double jeopardy. If that's the case.
Multiple fouls on the defense.
That's right.
Offside, refused, defensive interference, accepted, first down.
It'll be first and goal at the 1.
See, watch Meisner. He jumped offside, number 69. He throws the ball anyhow. That's the important thing. He threw the ball into a crowd, pass interference on the play. I don't know whether they call it on Johnny Johnson, number 20. Let's see it again.
Or Irvin, either one.
Yep.
The Bucs don't care. First and goal. And James Wilder is in for the touchdown. That was about as crisp a drive as we have seen, with a team needing 2 scores and having to get one in a hurry, Hank. They have all of their timeouts remaining, and the Bucs, with 2:51 to go, are now trailing 34-32.
Here's the interference call again. Let's see what they call here. Yeah, it's got to be on Johnny Johnson, number 20. Hit him in the back.
But Wilder scored the touchdown.
He hit him in the back. That's what happened.
His second score of the day, and here's Obed Ariri with Steve DeBerg holding. Takes that extra step, but the kick is good. And the score, Rams 34, Buccaneers 33. James Wilder having a terrific day. We know about Eric Dickerson, but we have to go back to that missed conversion. Other than that, if it weren't for that missed conversion, we would have a tie ball game at 34. Instead, the Rams lead by 1, and coming up, it'll be the 49ers against the Saints, except in Los Angeles because of NFL regulations. We'll not see that game out in L.A. Some of you will see the Bears and the Vikings. (34-33), the Rams lead, 2:51 remaining. And Hank, one of the last things you said before we started the ball game was the fact that the kicking game, which has been a problem for Tampa Bay and something the Rams have done well all year, may be the decider in the game, and right now that's the way it looks.
Yeah, you win the game. You know, anytime you win 2 out of the 3 segments, offense, defense, specialty teams, you win any 2 out of 3, you're going to win the game. And I thought really coming into the game that probably the Rams had the advantage in the specialty team area.
Obed Ariri will be kicking off, and with 2:51 to go, he should be kicking in regular style, of course, with enough time and all the timeouts.
I would think so. You're very definitely right. But they kick the onside kick, and the Rams get the ball. It's the bye-bye blues. It's all over.
And, of course, if they have to, they can use their timeouts on defense if the Rams get a couple of first downs.
You're right.
Larry Redden and Drew Hill are back. See how much I've learned this year from you?
Yeah, I'm learning from you. Getting replay.
Henry Ellard is now in there as a receiver. The ball bounces on the 1 and goes into the end zone. It will be a touchback. And the Rams will take over on the 20. There's the guy that may have made the play of the ball game. Gary Jeter, who blocked the extra point after the Buccaneers took a 9-0 lead in the first quarter, and here's how he did it.
There you see him, number 77, on the left side of the picture, left side of the screen. Getting penetration. There he is. Blocks the kick, and that's the difference so far, number 77.
Keep in mind that that happened after a holding penalty against Tampa Bay that moved the ball back. So Gary Jeter with a big play, and now the Rams have first and 10 on the 20, 2:44 to go, and you know they're going to keep the ball on the ground.
And the good thing about this situation for Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they got 3 timeouts left.
Eric Dickerson, close to a first down. They're going to have to stop him. Easier said than done. David Logan making the tackle.
You know, they got to call timeout here. They do. They call timeout here, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They can't worry about, you know, keeping those 3 timeouts till later because the game could be over. It would be meaningless. So it's a good time to call their first timeout.
Each side has 2 timeouts remaining. We have 2:33 on the clock, and right now let's bring you up to date on some scores. In this 13th week of the NFL season, Detroit shocked Green Bay Thanksgiving Day at the Silverdome. Look at Pittsburgh.
Is that amazing?
That's San Diego defense again. Cleveland beating Houston 27-10 in an AFC Central battle. Cincinnati, they've been playing well.
35-14.
Kansas City maintains their lead over the Giants, 27-21. How do you figure the Giants? I call the Rams a Jekyll and Hyde team. What about the New York Giants?
Well, the Giants, every time that they're supposed to win a game, they lose one, and then when they're supposed to lose it, they win. It's unpredictable. You never know.
Bill Kenny, 3 touchdown passes. St. Louis locked in a tough battle with Philadelphia. That's with Ron Jaworski out of there. Lomax has thrown a couple of touchdown passes in that game. They're in the 4th quarter at Busch Stadium.
Talking about the timeout situation, usually when you're behind in a situation like this, a lot of teams have a standard rule of thumb. They'll call their first timeout at 2:30, their second timeout at 2:15, they get a free one at 2, and then they'll throw another timeout at 1:45.
2nd and 1 for the Rams. And Kemp has the first down. Keeps it himself. He has scored a touchdown today. And a first down at the 31. A later score, the Philadelphia Eagles on a McFadden field goal have taken the lead over the Cardinals 16-14 in the 4th quarter. Philadelphia has to be the best 5th place team in the National Football League this year.
It's very easy to anticipate what's going to happen every week, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah. Tampa Bay calls a timeout. They have 1 remaining, and so the Buccaneers have 1 timeout left, and they're going to have to use that on defense, I would think, Hank, because it's a 1st and 10 situation for the Rams.
They got another one coming at the 2-minute mark, you see, so they really got 3 left.
34-33.
I'm sorry, they have 2 left with a 2-minute timeout.
Kemp. It's like something maybe around his eye. We can't tell from this view. Later score on the Kansas City New York Giants score, and the Giants have come back to take a 28-27 lead in the 4th quarter.
They must have heard us talking about the good bad games.
Washington has had a comfortable time of things against Buffalo the last time we checked. Keep in mind that the Giants and Washington both need a victory to stay even with Dallas at 8-5. Cowboys beat the Patriots at Texas Stadium Thanksgiving Day. Philadelphia, with a win over St. Louis, would fall into 4th place in the Eastern Division. 1st and 10 on the 33.
The big thing, they can't fumble, and that's what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have to do. They really got to fight to get that ball from Dickerson.
He didn't gain anything, but it's going to use up some time. Davis making the tackle on Dickerson, who, by the way, did fumble early in the 1st quarter, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers scored a touchdown off of it.
That's the thing you got to really be careful of in this kind of a situation, because they have good field position. You can't fumble the ball. You give them the ball in this position where they shrink the size of the field, you're really in trouble.
Well, here is the 1 break in time, the 2-minute warning that we're getting right now. The Buccaneers still have 1 timeout left, trailing 34-33, and the Rams will try to play keep away. The Tampa Bay bench a little somber right now. The Buccaneers had leads of 9-0, 16-7, and 26-17. The Berg hit Armstrong late in the 3rd quarter, but the Rams have controlled the game since that point. Jeff Kemp, you mentioned at the top, don't make him the focal point of the ball game, and the Rams haven't. 2nd and 10 at the 33. Dickerson cutting inside to the 35-yard line. And now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will use up their last timeout. Keith Browner on the tackle. Right now we want to take some time to thank some people. The executive producer of NFL football on CBS, Terry O'Neill. Senior producer, Charles Milton. Guys in the truck, producer John Ferratzis and director Andy Kindle. Nice job by them. As usual, Ernie Bauer, our associate producer. Victor Frank, our broadcast associate. And the crew that did an outstanding job. Marty Aronoff, our spotter. Pat McGrath, our statistician. Thanks to all. Eric Dickerson, 189 yards today in 27 carries. Now Hank needs to average 125 yards per game to beat O.J. Simpson's all-time record in one season, and that doesn't seem to be out of the realm of possibility, does it?
No, it really doesn't. I'm amazed at his durability. Gosh, he's played the whole season, hasn't been hurt, carries the ball on the average of 22 to 25 times a game. He's terrific.
And he predicted a victory. It's not over yet. They've got to hold on to the ball, but Tampa Bay is without timeouts. It'll be 3rd down and 8, and a big play coming up here.
This has really been a super game. It really has a lot of excitement. But either team has done very much defensively. It's been a great offensive show.
3rd down and 8 at the 35-yard line. Mike Gooman in motion, blocking for Dickerson, and Dickerson is hit at the 37-yard line by David Logan. A big play by Logan. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will get their hands on the ball again. They'll be out of timeouts. The clock continues to run. Big play by the nose tackle. It's 4th down, and John Misko is the Rams punter. We have not seen him yet. Clock continues to run, and the Rams are in no hurry to get a play off. And they're going to let that 30-second clock run down, I'm sure, Hank. It's reached 10, and they'll take the 5 yards.
Oh, sure.
There'll be a 5-yard penalty.
Now the important thing is, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have to decide whether they're going to go after the kick and take the chance of roughing the kicker, or try to get the ball back and try to return it in halfway decent field position. I would definitely try. They're going to penalize him 5 yards. I would try to block the kick. Maybe if you don't block it, he might kick a bad one, but I would be very, very careful not. Make sure that you'll rough the kicker and give them possession of the ball again. Let's see what they decide to do.
John Misko is in to punt. This is only his 3rd punt of the ball game. We have 1 minute remaining, and the Buccaneers, again I repeat, are out of timeout.
They're going after it.
They don't get it. Leon Bright watches it go out of bounds. Not in bad field position, considering the Buccaneers only need a field goal to win.
That's the great thing about rushing a kicker, even though, see, you got to do something to make a big play and try to make something happen. Even though you didn't block it, you made him kick a bad kick, and now you reduce the size of the field for the opposition, and they've got a good chance to get 3 points.
Penalty marker is down, though, following the 22-yard punt, apparently against the Rams. An eligible receiver naturally declined by Tampa Bay. So following the 22-yard punt by Misko, DeBerg will take over on the Buccaneers 45. John Robinson isn't out of the woods yet.
And the important thing is here, so you have the mistaken impression that you got to go 65 yards or 55 yards for a touchdown to win the game. You don't. All you have to do is get about 30 to get in field goal range to try to kick for the winning field goal.
And Obed Ariri's longest successful field goal this year has been 49 yards. So it gives you an idea about his range.
Here we go.
1st and 10 at the 45. DeBerg hit as he lets go of it. And we may have an interception. We do. The Rams, Leroy Irvin, have picked it off. And that may snuff out the last threat by the Buccaneers. But it was Jack Youngblood, Hank, who put a tremendous pressure on DeBerg.
I tell you, that Youngblood is amazing. Watch him. He gets an inside rush. Look at this. Comes around the outside and makes DeBerg throw the ball. He still threw the ball halfway decently, but a great, great interception by Leroy Irvin. But the pass rush made the difference.
And they haven't gotten much of that in this game.
Look at this. They got the pass rush when they needed it. Irvin turning. He gets him turned. The ball is thrown, and he comes up with a great interception only because Jack Youngblood made him throw the ball before he actually wanted to.
Theo Bell was the intended receiver. He's had a fine game, but Leroy Irvin, with his 4th interception, now takes over the leadership in that department on the Rams. He has been picked on a lot this year, but he was equal to the task on that one.
They put a nice pick of the ball now and stuff it.
Kemp kneels down. The Buccaneers are out of timeout, so the big play was a combined defensive effort by Leroy Irvin on the interception, and what made that all possible was the terrific rush by Jack Youngblood, who played his first college game ever on this field the University of Florida as a sophomore, and today playing his 200th consecutive NFL game on the same field.
And we saw him yesterday and visited with him yesterday. He looks terrific, doesn't he?
He looks like he can go on, and he's played 14 years. That'll be it. The Rams get away from a tough challenge. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Eric Dickerson, 191 yards and 3 touchdowns. The offensive hero, and Jack Youngblood finishes the game in the spotlight as the Rams defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 34-33. Coming up on CBS, the 49ers against the Saints, who are in the playoff fight, except in Los Angeles because of NFL regulations. Some of you may see Chicago against Minnesota. So, for Hank Stram, this is Dick Stockton saying so long from Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida, with the final score, the Rams 34, the Buccaneers 33. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will